when you elevate. Yeah. They hate when you elevate. They're stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate. Elevate. They hate when you elevate. Elevate. Yeah. They hate when you elevate. Elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah.
Salute, stop motion. What's up? Salute. Everybody in the building. We live. It's Tuesday. You know how we carry it. Salute, Jonathan 97. Salute. He retracted it. He said, "What's up, Cali?" Yo, what's up? What's up, Jonathan 97? How everybody doing? Give it a second. See, we got a couple of the homies in the building. How y'all been, man? You know, I only talk to y'all every week. You know what I'm saying? Once or twice a week. So a lot's changed. A lot's been happening since the last time we all convened and spoke. Man, the boxing space. Listen, man, I don't know. I gotta coin this phrase, but
Salute, Jonathan.
You know, the homie Blue Blood always says things change so quickly in boxing. How quickly things are changing, indeed, in boxing. Hard to keep up with all this stuff, right? But yeah, you know, we're gonna go down through it all. You guys catch that event. I'm assuming, I don't know if you guys were here. Alvarez fears David. Stop motion. You know what I mean? Man, you know, look, it's business. There's a heart of men, and somewhere in between all that, a fight gets made. You know what I mean? And we end up in these situations like this, right? But I don't know. I'm sure you guys were here for the live that we had with the fight this past weekend with Berlanga, you know, headline that card in Top Rank, and Andy Cruz showing out. It's a pretty decent card. What'd you think of that card, Ray? Pretty decent card, right?
Oh, I thought that was a great card. I don't even think I've seen his own card really that fire before. Like, seriously, that was action-packed throughout. Like, you know, usually you get a bunch of fighters you don't know. Sometimes because a lot of them come from Europe or like that part of the world, or they're like new to the game and their prospects in the U.S. and you know what I mean. You don't really know who they are, but that was actually really good performance by all the people in there. What's up, Big Dre? Salute. Yeah, that's a fact. I think it was a great card. I'm not gonna say outstanding, but great.
It was a great night of boxing. You know what I mean? Definitely a great night of boxing. And good evening. Salute, Big Dre. Definitely salute. Definitely a great night of boxing, you know what I mean, on there. And, you know, we're going to talk about a lot of different things tonight. You know, activity, these fighters fighting more than once a year would be nice. You know what I mean? You know, fighting 3-4 times a year. You're like,
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm just messing with my settings a little bit.
No doubt.
You can hear me?
Yeah, no, I hear you clear. It's just your light went away. Like,
yeah, I'm messing with my settings real quick.
All right, man, no problem. But yeah, so you know, activity and you know what's going on right now, even with Canelo Alvarez. I know you guys are ready to get into that. Canelo Alvarez potentially leaving the PBC, and I say potentially because you know the way things go nowadays, it can look however it looks on the surface, but until an actual move's been made and something's been penned, contracted out, you just can't count on it. But it does look like there's some issues going on with Canelo Alvarez's relationship with the PBC. It seems like they're in a different space. It seems like the PBC's in a different space and Canelo Alvarez is in a different space, and they don't seem to be able to come to some sort of agreement that would line up with them staying and doing work together. It looks like Canelo may be parting ways with the PBC. You know, a lot of people are thinking he's going to be heading towards Matchroom right now, you know, towards who he knows, which is Eddie Hearns, right?
What's up, Mr. Big Play?
What's good, Mr. Big Play? What's good? Salute, brother, salute. So it does look like there's some issues going over there, and things aren't all happy and all great in PBC land with Al Heyman and those guys over there. And we're going to talk about that as well. But I think the biggest thing is activity, right? These fighters sitting on the shelves who haven't been fighting. Canelo Alvarez trying to figure out what his fight's going to be, and he doesn't have time to really hang back and and deal with the possibility of some sort of inactivity, right? He wants to stay busy. He wants to fight who he wants to fight at the end of the day. And I guess the PBC and Canelo had an agreement of some sort of how that was going to work out. And it doesn't look like PBC is able to hold up their end of the bargain with Canelo Alvarez. Salute Mana Mansa Musa. Salute to my brother Claymore dropping that rain. I appreciate you, Mana Mansu, and salute to CK Ray all day. Indeed. Indeed. So, you know, we're going to talk about all those things. We've got also prospect things happening. We got Abdullah Mason and Floyd Schofield trying to make an attempt to make a run at Shakur Stevenson. And it seems like Shakur Stevenson's laid out a blueprint, a plan for Floyd Schofield. If you want to get to me, here's your way to me. And it seems like Shakur thinks that way is either through Abdullah Mason or potentially maybe even a William Zepeda, who's #1 right now in the WBC ranking. So we're going to talk about that as well. Andy Cruz had a great night the other night with Berlanga, on that Berlanga card, showing the world. You know, we're going to talk about this guy because when you talk about something amazing, this guy is 3-0 right now. And he is making all the waves right now at 135 pounds. He is definitely the hottest prospect in the game. And I say that with a light heart because I don't even know if I can call him a prospect at this point. I mean, this man is literally ranked in three of the sanctioning bodies weight divisions, 15 with the WBA, number 12 with the WBC, and 15 with the IBF. He's already making those moves, and he has 3 fights under his belt. A lot of work coming out at Boziana's gym, right? Boziana seems to be really working with his fighters and seem to have an effective system where, you know, you can see it. You can see the Andy Cruz and you can see the Boots Ennis in Andy Cruz. Like you can see how he's been changing him from that Cuban amateur style into a new professional style that can ultimately looks like is going to be guiding Andy Cruz to getting a lot of stoppages in the 135-pound weight class division. We could talk about that as well and who we think he should be fighting next and things of that nature as well, right? So where do you want to start at? And of course, we got the Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney press conference.
Yeah, we're close.
We can't forget that.
We definitely got close to that. But I think the Canelo thing's been big news for the last. It's been brewing. As far as any news other than that, that's on you where you want to start. But I think Canelo would be a great place to start right now. There's a lot of people feeling that he's ducking Benavidez. I don't see him ducking Benavidez. I think it's been over speculated a lot. I just think it's not time for the fight. He knows it's not time for the fight. I think he'll make the fight when the time is right and the bag is right. The bag should be right now, but I just think that it's just not, you know, it's just not something that's in his making. I don't care if he fights him or not. Benavidez does deserve a shot, so don't get me wrong. I think he does deserve it. He's been sitting in that position for almost 2 years.
Right.
So, you know, I'm not going to take that away from him. But, you know what I mean, if I can hear other people say that Loma didn't duck Devin, then I'm going to actually use that same frame and mindset to say that Canelo's not ducking Benavidez. I mean, it is what it is, right? If that's how they see it, they got to see it the same way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I ain't gonna hold you. You know what I mean? I do think there's some duck action going on with Canelo to a degree, but I also can respect the his right to do so. At the end of the day, that Canelo Alvarez situation, the bigger conversation to me is how the sanctioning bodies are handling this, right? If you're going to give this man a way to hold his belts and not have to fight against mandatories and have no penalties for him, you're not threatening to strip him of any of his title perks that he has, then, you know, naturally this man is going to use what he's going to do what he can do. You know what I'm saying? Some might say if you were in that position, what would you do? You know what I mean? He's getting millions of dollars to fight whoever he wants to fight. And why would he take advantage of his ability to do that if that's put in front of him? You know, this is a sanctioning body conversation. This is how the sanctioning bodies are handling a superstar fighter who's getting paid anywhere from $30 to $50 million per fight, and they're calculating on their calculators. They're taking their 3% off the top. Right, they're taking a little 3% off the top, and they don't have any type of motivation to change because the money's coming in beautifully under Canelo Alvarez. But at the same time, the bigger conversation as well is what is this doing to boxing, and what kind of is this a service or a disservice to boxing? When You're not respecting, mandatories. That's why people are like boxers are saying championship belts don't matter. They're not even trying to fight for championships anymore. They're only trying to fight big money fights. These are the conversations that come up when you acknowledge and see the way that that the sanctioning bodies, the WBC, WBA, across the board, are handling the situation with Canelo Alvarez. That's right, Big Dre. He doing what they're allowing him to do, and that's the biggest conversation.
The belt goes a long way. It was okay. It was okay when certain people had that belt, right? Devin got a hold of it and killed it, but some people still hold on to the franchise belt and they still got the privileges, and that's what happens. Protection.
Yeah, man. Stop Motion says they've been a mandatory for 3 years. That is a clear duck. I mean, it is. I think it is. I understand where you're coming from. He is a mandatory. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it is what it is. But at the same exact time, if the sanctioning bodies wanted to change that, they could have, and they can. They can get involved.
Let's clarify some things here. As far as him being the mandatory, it hasn't been mandated, but he is in a position. He is the number one position for the fight when it becomes mandated. Yes, he has been in this position for 2 years. Actually, he has been fighting for the position over 3 years, which is actually accurate. Doesn't mean that we can't look at it that way because being an interim champion, we already found out from other sources that being an interim champion doesn't make you a mandatory. Being ranked number one doesn't make you a mandatory. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to use those arguments on other fighters in other fights. We got to use the same arguments here until it's mandated, like Shakur was. Then at this point, it's not a mandate. Like I said, he's in a mandatory position, and they can move him at any time.
Right. And once again, Stop Motion, I definitely feel where you're coming from, but I mean, ultimately, just co-signing what Ray said. At the end of the day, until the sanctioning bodies get involved in the situation in the right way, you can't fault Canelo. You can be upset with him and say that he's ducking. He's not giving you the fight that you want, and that it is a duck in the basic street terminology and what we understand a duck to be. Yes, Canelo Alvarez is definitely out of his own free will choosing to consistently stay the hell out the way of David Benavidez. We can tell that. If he doesn't have to, clearly he's not going to. That's what he's basically saying to the world. If I don't have to, and you're not making me do this, I'm not going to do this out of my own free will. And that within itself does fall underneath a duck bracket. But like I said, the bigger conversation is the sanctioning bodies. If they're not going to do anything to enforce any type of mandatory pressure on top of Canelo, then Canelo's going to do what he does. And he does it. And he's going to do it like he's shown you guys he's going to do it. Salute and good evening, Jackie Hernandez. Thanks for stopping through. Stop Motion said, bro, Canelo clearly got more say than bodies. If Canelo was so confident, he would have fought him like he did Ryder. 100%. I agree with you on that as well. I agree with you on that as well. I think when the conversation comes Stop Motion into Canelo Alvarez's ability to make this fight and him freely choosing not to make this fight, I won't argue with you. Canelo wants this fight. All he has to say is give the word, and that's the fight that's going to happen. Right. So clearly he's showing he doesn't want this fight, and in that sense, he is ducking. He is ducking David Benavidez. I can't argue to say he's not ducking David Benavidez. He's 100% actively ducking a David Benavidez fight. But on top of that, what is the sanctioning bodies doing to stop him from doing this? They should honestly they should at least strip the WBC title from him. At least the WBC title should be stripped from him or threatened to be stripped from him. But they're not going to do that. So what is Canelo going to do? You think Canelo's just going to give up the PBC title and let them get it? Because what he's not going to do is set up that fight with David Benavidez, clearly, right? Stop says Canelo fears Andrade, Charlo, and Benavidez. I don't know about all that. I'm going to go with the Benavidez a little bit. I don't think he's scared of Andrade. I think that Andrade thing was a straight petty move. I think that was, you keep bothering me. I don't like the way you're talking to me. I'm not going to give you a fight. And Charlo, nah, bro. He just doesn't want to fight a drunk. And I don't want to call him a drunk like that, but honestly.
Either way. So as far as on the take on this, I look at it as he's the face of boxing. and he has the strategics to move like he wants. He's the king on the chessboard. Floyd was at one moment that piece, and when Floyd made the moves he did, and he avoided Paul Williams and other fighters at times, and waited for certain fighters to either get in where he was comfortable fighting them. Guess what? He made it happen that way. He didn't fight Pacquiao when they were young. I'm not saying that was any reason, whether it's drug testing or whatever the case may be. Hey, those are just reasons. But everything behind the scenes, from what I know, is that he didn't want to fight certain people at certain times. Rather, he aged out Shane Mosley, or he aged out the other. I don't know. I can't think of the other fighter. But he aged out the other fighter. He fought after Shane Mosley, but that's on him. You know what I mean? That's for them to say. I'm no person to say that. You know what I mean? Even when he took the fight with Canelo, he took Canelo and brought Canelo down, and then let Canelo, what he do? The same thing that every other fighter does: put on like 25 pounds after the weigh-in, and got beat because he was too sluggish. So those things happen. Fighters are smart. They have plans, and they know strategic ways of moving. And if Canelo feels that he has a plan, he knows when he wants to fight Benavidez or whoever the next fighter is that people potentially think that can beat him, that's what he's going to do. He's going to make those moves until it matters to him and when he thinks he has the best chance of winning. When he sees something that is exposed, where he sees something that, some weaknesses, or he decides to retire. That's when we'll see the fight or not see the fight.
Right. And I understand what you're saying, stop motion. By the way, salute to the Outlaw Pugilist. That's my access to all things European boxing related. Outlaw Pugilist keeps it popping and keeps you up to speed with everything going on in England with boxing. Really appreciate you coming to the chat. Stop motion. I get what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, what up though, GM? Salute Echo. I understand where you're coming from, you know what I mean? But there's two conversations to have. I mean, like I told you, I think the easiest thing to get to the conclusion of is that Canelo Alvarez is ducking David Benavidez. It's easy to say that, you know what I mean? In so many ways. The question is he well in his right to do so? And if he is well in his right to do so, who allows him to do it? Who has justified what he does? Because that's where the problem comes, because he's, it's about why is he able to be undisputed and hold on to these belts the way he's been holding on to these belts and no repercussions happening. You look at somebody like Terrence Crawford, who had his IBF title. Inside of the first 5 to 6 months of him having that title, they took that title off of him. They weren't having it. And you look at the way the WBC, and specifically in this case scenario, in reference to David Benavidez is concerned, is handling the situation. They definitely have to get the finger pointed at them right now, the most, I believe, out of the whole situation, because Canelo, reading what Canelo's doing is easy. That's elementary. We can easily just call him a dog and make this whole entire conversation Canelo. But at the end of the day, who's holding the sanctioning bodies accountable for the way they're moving? GM says, Clay, you gotta show the setup one day. I know that shit look clean. Yeah, it's decent. It's decent. It does the job. I spent a little bread. On making it what it is. Salute the Heron symbol. Salute. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to with Canelo Alvarez. But moving on with the conversation just a little bit here. So Canelo leaving the PBC, right? He's decided to part ways, and he's potentially going to Matchroom. And it looks like right now, if he is going to go to Matchroom, if that would be the move he's going to make, I think Eddie Hearn's made his he's made it clear what he plans on doing. His agenda is to line up a fight between Edgar Berlanga and Canelo Alvarez. Now, everybody in the room, let me know at this point, seeing what Edgar Berlanga did Saturday night against Parag McCrory, I hope I'm saying his name correctly. Is this the person who's supposed to be in line to get a shot at Canelo Alvarez? Or is it Jaime Munguia? I mean, we know who we want to see. It's David Benavidez. Clear as day, David Benavidez is who we want to see in the ring with him. But what are we going to do if it's Edgar Berlanga? Are we ready to see that fight? Is that going to be competitive? Is that worth anything? Is Edgar Berlanga going to no? Yeah, pretty much, right? Edgar Berlanga, to me, I got to agree with you guys. Let me see. Harrison said, I wouldn't mind it, but it's an awful fight. I hope Berlanga chins him, though. Ooh. 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 let me tell you something, man. Karma is a. There's a couple of fighters who, yeah, Jackie Hernandez says, I do not want to see that. Yeah, we don't want to see that. I'm not buying it. If it's Berlanga, I might watch Munguia. Right, I agree with you. I think Munguia is the more legitimate option outside of David Benavidez. I think Munguia is the option at the end of the day. You know what I mean? He's going to stand in there and fight. He's going to go toe-to-toe with Canelo. He's going to give us a fight. He's going to make an exciting night. He's going to make Canelo look great, because Canelo's probably going to knock him out if he fights Canelo the way he fights John Ryder and everybody he fought before Canelo. But at the end of the day, it's a better fight. But you know, where's Munguia at? He's there with Golden Boy. Oscar De La Hoya made a statement earlier yesterday saying that there's no way he doesn't see Munguia being the fight that's going to happen on May 4th. So maybe September, maybe, but definitely not then. So who's going to be the fighter? The fight on May 4th for the Cinco de Mayo fight looks like it's going to be. It might be. Looks like it's going to be Edgar Berlanga. Salute Richard Paris in the building. Big Sarge says this scenario with Canelo is the same thing that Tank is doing right now with the worst resume. Talk about it. Well, you know, at the end of the day, once again, even with the Tank situation, he can do what he wants to do. But at least Tank doesn't have, he has one title, but he's not sitting here ducking mandatories and, you know what I'm saying, doing all that stuff. He just ultimately doing what he can do, which is, you know, pick fights that are, I think stylistically, Tank is more interested in making exciting fights, and he wants to fight with people who are going to fight him in the way that's going to make the fight exciting. He wants to be part of an exciting fight. He doesn't want to be part of a fight where he's chasing anybody around potentially, or, you know, it has any potential chance of it being boring, or he wants a stoppage and he wants to knock somebody out, you know, and that's what it comes down to with Tank. But with Canelo, this situation with Canelo is deeper than exciting fights. This is a straight hostage situation. This is extortion, right? This is criminal.
I think so. I think it's definitely criminal, because he knows he can get as much money as he wants from his fan base, and not have to pay for it. There's no price for him to pay. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. That's what I was saying before. Once you become that face, and once you become that guy where you're always going to get 25 to 30, 40 million a fight, who's going to tell you what to do? I don't have to go fight this guy just because he's going to bring me the same amount as a John Ryder or Sean McNally from Alabama, who's from Ireland, who, you know what I mean? Like some garbage man that just fell off the truck. Let's bring him in. We got him. Right. That's what happened. So when we look at these situations, we got to understand, Clay, that that's what it is. He's that guy. I mean, as long as he's the man, until that torch is passed to someone else, he's going to keep doing what he's doing. Eventually, though, I think Mauricio Sulaiman, I think his hands are tied a little bit here with some of the situations with the other fight, especially one that just got announced. The press conference happened today. I think him having his hands tied with a few things, I think that has held up the options of the mandatory call. Because he did say that if this fight doesn't happen by a certain time, he is going to make the call, and he's going to enforce the mandatory. And so that's going to make everyone else say, hey, drop the belt or make the fight. So that just tells you that the franchise belt has no weight anymore, whether he has it or not, because I'm hearing he doesn't have it, but I'm hearing that he does still have it. That's why he hasn't lost the title yet. But we'll see. Only time will tell. You know, I always say, you know what I mean? In time, we'll see everything.
100%. I gotta agree with you on that. Big Play Bray says, I think Golden didn't want to say yes yet because they wanted all the attention on Devin and Ryan. Quite possibly, you know. I actually took that into consideration when I saw the interview that Oscar De La Hoya did with Ariel Helwani, right? I said, I wonder if this dude's like, because, you know, from his perspective, hey, man, this fight I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. And there was a little bit of disingenuous tonality in his voice, you know what I'm saying, about just completely turning down the opportunity and saying that he doesn't see that fight happening at all. You know, when people start saying they don't see anything happening at all, not like, hey, man, I don't know, it makes me a little suspicious. I thought about that as well. But I'll tell you like this, if the game plan is for Canelo Alvarez to go to Matchroom under Eddie Hearn, for me, I've still got to lean towards Edgar Berlanga being the fighter that Eddie Hearn would choose. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you one thing Eddie Hearn has shown over and over and over in history is that he's willing to work with anybody. He's one of those promoters that really has no issues working with anybody in the game. So if there's a fight that is to be made in between Golden Boy and Matchroom, as long as Oscar De La Hoya is on the same page as Eddie Hearn on making that happen, I could see that happening as well. So who knows what will happen. Andrew Charles says, I like the Tank Frank matchup. Tank walks his own path. I 100% agree with you on that.
We'll get there. We're gonna get to
Definitely. Definitely. Herring Symbol says, I think Canelo isn't scared of Benavidez. However, I don't think Canelo liked the comments David and his dad were saying, and that probably leads to him not giving David the opportunity. You know what? Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with that. And with your next comment, you want to skip along. I want to touch base on both of them at the same time. We already actually touched on a Canelo never avoiding the mandatory and Benavidez Big Sarge. We already touched on that earlier. We actually said that same exact thing. But as far as that, the comments, listen, that's what they say, the same thing, right? What and I hate to bring this conversation up, but with Devin and Floyd and Tank, right? They said that his dad parked him into a garage that he can't back his ass out of, right? So now we're gonna sit here and we're gonna play with you. We're gonna sit here and make you wait. We're gonna make you thirsty. So when you have nothing to do but fall to the request that I have to get this fight, and it's going to be everything under the kitchen sink, and you're going to be, whether you 10% of my purse, 5% of my purse, 1% of my purse, you're going to take whatever I have to give if you want this fight that bad because of all the shit you've been talking. So guess what? That's what Canelo could be doing. You're right. It might be a play.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I was going to say that in this game that we're living in today, and I was going to use the Tank and the Devin situation as a perfect example. You know, these fighters get petty and they start to not fight fighters off the strength of you not talking to me nice. You know, that happens. You know, it's not like what I feel like back in the day when somebody was talking about you and not talking to you nice, your instinct was to beat that ass. Like, set that up, and I'm going to make that due respect. And today, it's if you don't talk to me nice, you got to be real polite to me. You got to, really, give me my accolades. Tell everybody that I'm a great fighter, and ask nicely for an opportunity. Use your inside voice when you're talking to me. And then I will consider and get back to you when I'm ready. I might not say yes right now, but you shut up, you sit there, and you wait for me as I figure out if you line up with what I want to get done, and I will let you know if I will give you an opportunity or not. But if you're not talking nice to me, what I'm going to do is starve the fan base out of a fight. And so that's very realistic, Herring. That very well may be what's happening between David Benavidez and Canelo. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to hold David Benavidez accountable in that area. Guys need to toughen up. He's been waiting 2.5, going on 3 years for an opportunity. He's not going to talk to you nice no more, bro. He's going to try to antagonize you, and he's going to let you know what he thinks, which is you ducking me, bro. And it's soft, and I'll respect it. You know what I'm saying? 2 cents, salute. 2 cents boxing in the building. Ross Cloud, my guy. That's my guy. Oh man, drooling on myself. I'm tripping. Salute Ross Cloud. But yeah, that very well may be what's happening with Canelo Alvarez. But when you're the face of boxing and you're getting the bags that he's getting, you're getting the money he's getting, clearly you can do what you want to do. And that's what he's going to do. But how do you think, Ray, let me ask you this. At this point, how do you think Canelo leaving the PBC affects the PBC, though? Like, and that's a real question. Like, is this a negative thing? Is this a positive thing? Is there negative and positives to it?
It helps. I think it helps. Of course, we've been hearing rumors about the budgeting with the 14 fights and not being able to pay fighters. I think this helps. I think taking that big chunk of money off the table that you would have to pay to Canelo helps you get more fighters in these fights and makes it a safe haven now for the guys that are there. Right. It could have been something that was talked about behind closed doors that we don't even know about. And the fact is, we haven't even had a real announcement that it has happened yet. So let's not, I really don't even want to speculate on it, but this is the rumors that's going around boxing. I think that helps the PBC get some really in-tune fights and get some paydays out there for some of these fighters. Hopefully they can kind of like keep a nice promotional situation and keep their ties with Amazon. because that's where people are having a lot of interest with what's going to happen, how is it going to happen, in his nature. I'm just still, like I said, I'm still I don't want to talk about PBC too much, but I'm still caught on the fact that we still haven't had a fight, and the first quarter of the year is over, and we're going into our third quarter with our first fight, and we don't have a second one announced, which I hope it happens soon. Especially now that Canelo, if he does leave, I hope it happens sooner than later.
Yeah, I think it's negative in as far as what it looks like. I think aesthetically it's negative. Like, man, what's PBC going through? But I think in some ways, you know, kind of co-sign what you said. It's alleviated a little bit of pressure. It's definitely opened up a spot on that 12 to 14 boxing dates that they have with Amazon Prime. It's definitely opened up the budget. Right. So now they should be able to get into full length conversations with Tank Davis on coordinating that fight with Frank Martin and maybe even his next fight. And maybe opening up a lot of other conversations with other fighters that they have on the roster to start getting active a little bit. Because like you said, they've waited a while getting into the end of the first quarter to get to this point to where they only have one card they're putting together. And, you know, some people have different opinions on it, but I think most people will agree that the card is a weak card, you know what I mean, for a pay-per-view fight. So they can maybe open the budget up. You would think that would open up the budget and allow opportunities to coordinate other fights. Roscott say PBC may not have the money, but I believe Ben versus Canelo will generate enough to pay Canelo. Canelo's ducking. Yeah, but you know what, Roscott? Canelo has to believe in that, right? So what you're basically asking Canelo to do is not take any guaranteed money, right? That's what you're basically saying. You're saying he should be able to generate enough money to make it worth his while. But Canelo's made it very clear he wants his money in escrow. That seems to be what the agreement was when he signed with them, that they would guarantee him a minimum amount of money. And he's not going to sit there and put his ass on the line to fight somebody. And you know what I'm saying? And potentially the event doesn't make the money he's supposed to make, and he's taking a short end of what he's rightfully, legally entitled to get based on an agreement they made. So, I mean, you could look at it many different ways. Mr. Big Play says, keeping it PBC hasn't really pushed the Keith versus Tim fight. Yeah, man. Man, listen, bro. There's a lot going on. I think at this point, there's a lot of people who have tried to really shut down the PBC conversation. They really try to shut it down. They act like they don't want, like we're not allowed to talk about, like you don't even know what's going on and you're hating on the PBC and you talk about the PBC. What about the Zone? What about Top Rank? What are they doing that's so great? And it's just like, okay, all these things can still be legitimate. They can all coexist in the same space, but this PBC conversation is a real conversation. What is going on right now? How is the deal structured in between PBC and the Amazon? It's a fair question. It's a reasonable question to ask. And if you don't have the answer, it's okay to say you don't have the answer. But to act like everything's okay because Al Heyman is some Harvard law graduating student in business and everything like that, that's just not going to cut it. Clearly something's going on over there. And clearly Canelo doesn't want any part of it, right? Stop Motion says PBC should go to ESPN. PBC definitely needs to figure out a network that's willing. Look, the history of the PBC at this point, and Ray Davis will help me better on this one. But so Mazuma TV, salute in the building. Salute. We're definitely about to throw this link up very soon because I definitely want Mazuma and 2 Cents up in here. Definitely want your opinions on this topic. Give us like 10 more minutes, I think, right? About 10 more minutes or so, and we're gonna throw that link up.
Correct.
But help me here with the history of the PBC to a degree here. So when they first started, was it with CBS? Were they with CBS?
I think it was both CBS and Fox Sports. I think some fighters were on CBS and a lot of them were on Fox. Then I think they were that way for a while. Then it went to FS1, Fox Sports, and then Showtime. Right.
So, and then after that, they made a move to, at what point? So was it from there they went to Showtime, or did they go from Fox Sports and
see?
Yeah, that sounded crazy.
That was my son. All right, no worries.
Okay, Stop Motion says it was CBS and Bounce TV.
Yes. That was on that station. But what I was going to say is actually CBS and Showtime, they're actually still under one roof. Bounce TV was also a cable network like USA, and they were under one roof. So when it actually started, that's how they.
Oh, hold on. Stop motion. Are you saying it wasn't CBS, that it was ESPN and Fox TV, or are you saying as well as CBS?
I think Top Rank was on ESPN on Thursday Night Fights with Floyd.
Right. Right. I don't know if Premiere was ever on ESPN. I don't know about that. That's what I'm saying. But ultimately, okay, so they've been with about a good 3-4 networks at this point.
Well, I would say two. Like I said, I think CBS is Paramount. Paramount is also Showtime. They've all been under one roof at one point. Actually, since the beginning, I think CBS was bought out by Paramount, but I think CBS always owned Showtime.
Disney owns ESPN,
right? And yeah, Disney owns and ABC. They own ESPN. Right. But Fox has been its own thing with Fox Sports and things of that nature. FS1. Right. They all have hosted PBC fights. So I would just say they've been under two roofs at one point. I mean, it may have been different networks, but as far as as those networks branch up, they only go to two roofs. You know what I mean? I think it was just a partnership with the two companies.
Okay, so ultimately, for some reason or another, PBC has a history of bouncing around, jumping from network to network, trying to find a home. Right. One could argue, and we don't know if it's true or not, but one can argue and say that these networks aren't finding profit working with PBC, and they're pretty much kicking the can down the road. Like, you guys see if you can work with them, right? Or why would they not stay in the business of making money?
I'm gonna actually go against you on this one. I don't think that's the case. I think what happens is boxing is not the sport that it used to be. And I'm not saying that it's not for us. I'm just saying to the casual fan. When the names disappeared in a certain point, it clearly wasn't marketable for the networks. I think actually Mazuma just said the same thing, I think. But it being not marketable for the networks, what happens? You have situations where companies are saying, look, this is killing the business. First one to bail was HBO with Top Rank. Even USA Boxing dropped the ball. Remember, USA had a boxing network too. They had a channel too. Teddy Atlas used to be on USA Boxing. He used to do all their commentary. And then he went to HBO. So HBO closed the gates on that. And then what happened? And that was actually NBC. Yes, NBC was actually USA. What happened was when HBO closed doors, it was the same thing. They seen a trend. They seen that boxing, especially that Showtime had opened up. Remember, Showtime opened up in 1998, 99. And literally 3 years later, HBO went downhill. And I think they were going within that fourth year. So these things happen, man. Things move on, and they don't see the with the money they had to put out to the fighters, the venues, and things like that when they're supporting all these things, the return. Yeah, it may be some return, but how much are they really making back? Are they breaking even? Are they making 5% more? Because when you make a return in business, you're supposed to make 25% on your capital. That's the only way to consider a profit, because you still got to pay the lights, you still got to pay your employees, you still got to do all these things. If you're not making 25% at the end of all that, you're really not making capital. So I think that's probably why we don't see a lot of these companies sustaining in boxing. Hopefully this changes, because the zone seems to be doing their thing the way, but Europe actually likes boxing. Echo can speak on that, and your boy, what's his name? They can speak on that. Europe boxing's huge, so they follow boxing. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see how it works with these companies right now. I think the zone would be a great landing spot for the PBC. It brings a third company there, and it just allows people to be on the same side of the street. Even Top Rank, why don't they all go there? That's what makes sense to me. What's up?
Right. Yeah, I mean, personally, me, I got to co-sign what Mazuma is saying to a degree, because I'm subscribing to that thought right now. And he basically says, if it isn't the sport it used to be, then wouldn't that go hand in hand with that not being as profitable? Yeah, man. I think for me that makes sense, Mazuma. At the end of the day, I think two things can coexist, especially when they support each other, right? If the sport isn't what it used to be, that may also mean, as far as popularity is concerned, popularity aligns with views aligns with money, profit. And when you're looking at the sport not being as popular as it used to be, right? But then you look at the pay for the fighters being higher than they've ever been, that it's not matching, right? Like the pay is higher than it's ever been, but the sport is less popular than it's ever been.
And
so
that's why actually, believe it or not, that's what I started with, that whole statement, believe it or not. Sorry.
Right. So ultimately, it seems like the business model of the PBC has been a great model for supporting fighters. You know, mostly who you're going to see loving the PBC is going to be the fighters, right? Man, they've paid us better than we've ever been paid. Al Heyman's always been a fighters kind of guy, always helping the fighters out. But ultimately, as far as the business is concerned, the structure and the model of the business doesn't seem like, as far as investors are concerned, as far as people who seem to want to make profit from the boxing business is concerned, it doesn't seem like a business model that was conducive to them making as much money as they can. And at the end of the day, I think the choices that these networks have made speak way louder than any statement the networks would have made, right? Like if the network could have went up to a microphone and a soapbox and like, listen, we're not making money, and that's why we're not doing this. But I think it's safe to assume to say that businesses that are in the business of making money don't just walk away from profitable situations. They generally walk away from situations that aren't profitable when they're making their decisions. I mean, that's just like the foundation part. You know, there's all these different variables and moving parts in the decision making of how a business approaches whether or not they're going to get involved with something or not. But I think at the end of the day, the bottom line usually speaks volumes as to why a business moves in any direction they move into. So Heyman basically taking care of the fighters, but not necessarily taking care of the investors, right? And ultimately, doesn't seem like that structure was a profitable structure. So now PBC's in a situation to where they're on their own a lot, right? Like Amazon Prime, they've done a deal with Amazon Prime, but it looks like the people at Amazon Prime kind of had their head on their shoulders, like, we're not going to act like we don't know what's happened with these other networks that you got with. Those guys, we don't want to end up like those guys. So here's the structure of our deal. We're going to provide you a platform. We're going to provide you, you know, some marketing a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're going to give you a platform, but we're not going to pay these fighters. We're not paying them these ridiculous amount of dollars. And now the PBC's got into a space to where when they're putting fights together, they have to be concerned about something it doesn't seem like they had to be concerned with before, which is ROI. This is a very important part of the conversation now with the PBC. The PBC needs to be concerned with return on investment because they can't afford to sit there and just continue to lose money because they don't have an infinite well of money to tap into Showtime, right? They can't say, don't worry, Showtime, go ahead and pay him $20 million. We'll get it later. I'll get you around the corner. And Showtime like, all right, I guess, man, I don't know, man. I mean, these fights are doing well. The events are big. The fans seem to like it. But when we're all said and done, we either breaking even or we're not getting nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? So so it is what it is. A star seed phenomenal. So was you both. Sure, that part, right? So at the end of the day, I think that's a deep conversation. And it's going to be a conversation until we get an answer, right? Until we get an actual an answer that makes sense so we can understand why, or until they start putting on these fights, right? Like if tomorrow PBC lines up 3-4 cards, we don't really care about their profits, right? I don't care about how they staying open. If they staying open, I'm assuming they figured a way to stay open. But until then, as long as we're sitting here not seeing any fights and you're seeing fighters one by one leaving the platform and going to different platforms, the question is always going to be, what is the PBC doing and why is it not keeping fighters and why are we not seeing fights coming from them? Let's go through some of these statements. We got a bunch of statements here.
Yeah. There's a lot of what's up. I'm saluting everybody in the chat. I'm trying to keep up with them.
Right,
here we go. So, our best friend is here.
Hold on. Ross Clock says bad business deals in the past is what ruined the PBC now. Even with all the exhibitions Floyd does for the PBC, it's still not enough. Yeah, man. I definitely listen, man. I definitely understand. Let's see here. Europe. What's good, guys? Low Nose Boxing. Salute to Low Nose. Another friend to the channel. Bill Haney was dropping Floyd and Crawford's name today. All for clout and promotion. He's a salesman for real. You know it already, Low. Bill Haney was definitely in his Don King bag today at that press conference. He was in his bag today. He was doing everything he could to promote this fight. I mean, You got to respect it. You got to respect it. You know, J Cash the Money Man said, I was saying that to my brother the other day, that boxers are being paid buku cash, but boxing not being nearly as popular as it once was. Yeah, J Cash, you know why? Because when you give these guys silk pajamas inside of their first 2 to 3 fights, it's hard to get them motivated to fight the bigger and harder fights.
Right.
You know, and the only way you can motivate them is with even more money. One thing about money that's not funny, but it is what it is once you pay me $5, you can never pay me $4 again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Once you give me 10, you can never give me 9. Once you give me 50, you can never give me 30. You just can't do it. We're just not hearing that. You know what I'm saying? So, and these fighters don't want to hear it. You know, Tank Davis made $30 million when he fought against Ryan Garcia. That was his last fight he made, as far as he's concerned. You know, that's what I'm supposed to be making. You know, no, you're not going to be able to tell him like, oh, that was a once in a lifetime opportunity. It was the stars aligned to give you that. What we really need to do is bop, 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 bop. That's not going to work. He's going to want to guarantee. And I'm not saying he won't take 30 million or less than 30 million, but it needs to make sense, right? If it's guaranteed, the most important part of the deal was 5 million or 10 million, then his guarantee is going to have to be that or more on his next fight, or quite likely.
Right.
Roscoe says Heyman overpaying fighters added to them losing money, and Heyman not making more fights with other promoters hurt them too. 100%. Keeping all those fights underneath one banner and not being comfortable with cross promoting enough, because I think he had a couple fights where he cross promoted on, but he wasn't making it regular. He wasn't keeping his fighters fighting regularly. It slowed down a lot for him, clearly. I don't know what that is. Big Sarge says it must be congratulated that Devin Haney was able to promote this fight in conjunction with Golden Boy as a young man having a seat at the table. Listen, what Devin Haney, his father, is doing right now, when you look at it, you just look at the last 5 years of what he's done, promotion-wise, not inside the ring. Inside the ring is one conversation, but outside the ring, come on, man, you gotta celebrate them.
In all seriousness, and this is not me trying to be a fan or anything. Hit the horn for that comment. That's actually a great statement for a young brother doing this thing out there.
In the room, a lot of fans, but I am the shit now anyway. So
right.
However you want to play it, so that's your business.
I like what you were saying. Some of the comments that I've seen, just to jump in real quick before you continue. We did get we call it spoiled rotten people in boxing. We started spoiling them, right? We started paying them too much. That's a problem. What they should have done is that they should just contractually got these guys, and PBC had a good thing going on. They should have just did like Top Rank and maybe gave more back end if that was the case. You know what I mean? Less up front, more in the back end, or however they want to structure it. But you can't do both. You can't, you know what I mean, give them here and then give them a chip here every time, you know what I mean, down the line, because every time that happens, you're hurting your own pockets. Because once you get what they got, 300 fighters? They pay 300 fighters every time. Every time their fights are shown or a clip is shown.
You don't think they got 300 anymore because they're leaving every day.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just saying, but that's funny. Listen, man, I don't want any like Toys R Us went out of business. Just remember that, and there's a reason why. Let's put it that way. And we have kids, right? I know, but we have kids. Child World went out of business. We have kids. The thing is, and y'all don't know who Child World is. That means y'all too young. But J.C. Penney went out of business. Most of them. I know by me there's none, but these are the things we're talking about. Malls are going away, and there's a reason for that, because people can find stuff online. They can find other ways and other means. They're going to make fights. The problem is, what it's going to take? Are we going to take the people that are willing to be prospects or people that are willing to be fight for less to get out there and show us their skill sets, as opposed to the big names that want to demand millions and millions of dollars? That's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. And we live in a what have you done for me lately world. So that's going to be the situation that we're living in, and the promoter's going to have to step in and make something happen.
That's a fact. That's a literal fact, man. They're going to have to. I'm going to tell you what it's going to come down to. They're going to have to start cross promoting. They're going to have to start getting big fights and working together to put fights together, or they're just not going to survive it, or they're going to lose it to Turkey Al-Sheikh, or, you know what I mean? They're going to lose it to somebody who's willing to facilitate that type of situation. You know, a lot of people, that's another conversation, right? I think that was one of the biggest conversations that kind of got me at odds with a very popular content creator. Was one of the biggest conversations was a Turki Al-Sheikh conversation and his interest in coordinating the biggest fights in the world. If the promoters here on the state side do not begin to cross promote and work together, like how you see Golden Boy, like you see Oscar and DHP, and you've seen Top Rank do it with Matchroom, and you've seen all these different collaborations, you know what I mean, across the board happen. If these promoters don't start jumping on that business model sooner rather than later, then it's going to be they're going to get X'd out. They're going to get canceled out. I remember they asked Turki Al-Sheikh at an event he had, I believe it was the heavyweight event that he had with Day of Reckoning. Right. And they said that Oscar De La Hoya had issues, basically saying that, listen, man, I don't mind Turki Al-Sheikh setting up these fights, but certain fights should be in the United States. And I don't think it's healthy for the fight to go overseas. And Turki Al-Sheikh said one thing: tell Oscar we'll miss him. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, what we're doing is momentum driven. It's a momentum driven business model. We're paying the fighters. We can afford to pay the fighters, but more importantly is we're getting them the fights that they don't seem to be able to get underneath your banner. We're getting them those fights. We're giving them opportunities to become champions and to be recognized and to fight the best and become called, you know, become the best, become called the best. So it's the future of boxing is going, what I see is that the future of boxing is going to continue to move in the direction of making boxing bigger with or without these promoters. And I think that's important to understand. Let me see here. Jay Cash, the Money Man, says Amazon will dump PBC before they start allowing them to financially cripple their streaming money.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm going to tell you like this, Jay Cash, the Money Man. If they are crippling, or if they look like they're not making their money, I think it's very realistic what you're saying. Because why would a business just sit there and just bleed out money, especially with as much history as they have to reference to, as far as what PBC's done with other networks? Why wouldn't they? I mean, that's very realistic what you're saying. I mean, you want to tap in, Ray?
That's a very strong possibility. What I've also noticed is that we got sports that we don't even watch here in the States that are on Amazon. I mean, it might be watched worldwide. I think we got what's the one with the scoop, and you got cricket and all this stuff that they play on there, and even Australian rules football. Salute to Australian rules football, or rugby as we call it. I know it's slightly different, but it's the same. But they have these sports over there, and they show it. You know, not just the Zone showing this on their networks. We have Amazon showing these in their sports section. So it's very possible it gets buried with those sports. And if it gets buried there, guess what? It won't be pay-per-view. It'll be free boxing, and it'll be based on ratings, whether people are making it or not. And the arenas will be smaller. They're going to little stage rooms and things of that nature. We don't want to see that. I think I touched on what you said earlier last week when we were talking to Rachel Donaire. Shout out to Rachel Donaire, by the way. When we were talking about her, and I said, listen, the biggest thing is the fighters are going to have to go other places to fight. There's no way you're going to get most of these fighters to fight on these cards with only 14 scheduled fights on the card unless they get another signing with someone where they can show some free fights. If it doesn't happen, they're going to have to let these fighters cross promote, and they're going to have to do it, and they're going to have to work with these fighters. We've seen it kind of happening with the Canelo thing. I'm imagining, and I think he just decided to bail because he wanted to fight somebody that was American, I believe, and it just didn't go his way. Again, nothing's dialed up. It's not marked in the sand yet, so it is what it is. But those are the things we're looking forward to, and we don't want to see this. I don't want to see this great sport end. I'm sorry. It's one of the best sports I've ever seen, and you know, I don't want to see it end. I want to see it continue, and I think PBC just needs to see what they can do future-wise to future-proof this sport.
Yeah. True Stranger says, wasn't they doing every fight as a pay-per-view, and they were trying to pay the fighters just off the pay-per-view? Were they doing that? There were free fights on Showtime. But this model here does seem very pay-per-view heavy, to say the least, because I don't even see where the free fights are going to be coming from, to be honest with you. But I do know that they spoke about having free fights and that they were going to be coordinating that. It's just I haven't seen what they've done to go in that direction. Let's see here. You up tonight? Sushi brother, blah blah blah. Just going down the list. As he should. He's a promoter at the end of the day, for sure. Low Nose says Bill Haney is the real life George Washington Duke from Rocky IV. For sure. For sure. MMA and all these other combat sports taking a lot of revenue away from boxing. I mean, Ross Clot, yes and no. Yes and no, right? Yes, because they're giving the fans what they want to see. Mixed martial arts, UFC specifically, is a very organized way of fighting that we're used to, an old school format where the best fight the best. Rankings are acknowledged. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's mandatories are mandatory, right? You can't get around it. So they're taking a lot of views away, but also on the other side of the conversation is the MMA fighters really ain't getting paid as well as boxers are getting paid, right? So they're definitely way more profitable. You know what I'm saying, of a company than boxing is. But no, I agree with you. MMA is definitely, as far as like competition is concerned, they're probably boxing's #1 competition as far as combat sports is concerned. MMA is growing and growing and growing every single year. During COVID, they were throwing events right and left all through COVID. You know, they don't stop. I'm rooting for Haney. It's a bloodbath from Brooklyn. We're gonna get to that conversation in a minute, Aaron.
That's crazy.
That's a definite conversation we're gonna get into.
I like the way he stated that. BBB, bloodbath in Brooklyn. I like that.
Yeah. Big Sarge says $40 million for Tank Davis. Yeah, big numbers like that. You know, big numbers like that. It's like, you know, you got to be fighting that right fighter, man. You can't be just fighting anybody and just getting no $40 million. I mean, clearly, PBC has shown these fighters ways to get numbers like that and not fighting the big fights. But I don't know. Like, I think time is telling the story right now that it's just not going. It's just not it's not a marathon way to approach the business of boxing. Boxing is losing with that mentality.
Yeah.
Let's see. Facts Ryan softer than okay. Yeah. Jay Cash, the money man. The events PBC put on this year will determine how Amazon Prime is going to deal with them moving forward. 100%. 100%. Oh my God, New York weekend, boy. Riding that man's nuts. Let's see here. Truth Stranger. AB got blackballed because he said the big fighters like Errol and Tank take so much of the budget that they was trying to pay all the regular fighters off of the pay-per-view. Yeah, I heard that rumor as well. You know what I'm saying? I definitely heard that. Skywalker, yeah, I saw that video. You just out of pocket. He likes to talk down on people. I don't know which one you're talking about here. I'm about to put the link up though in a few minutes for sure. I think it's about that time. I want to talk about the
Mason
press conference.
Oh, you want to talk about Mason and
Schofield as well. But we could talk about that. But I want to talk about the press conference.
Okay.
So the press conference happened today, guys. You guys, I'm sure most of you guys saw it. If you didn't, you should go see it. I don't know why you didn't see it, but Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney had their first press conference today in New York. I don't know, man. I'm gonna let Ray kind of jump this off and tell me what you thought about the press conference. Like, what did you think about the press conference?
If I have 1 to 10, I'd give it an 8. I thought it was a little entertaining. I think they, could have had it outside or something. It's a beautiful day over here, you know what I mean, in this side of the world. So they could have definitely had it outside. They could have had, had the people there, bring it up, 42nd Street popping right there in Times Square. Get it, they could have did it. I mean, the preempted it because they had, which I like, on the Breakfast Club, they had Ryan Garcia on there this morning, which was pretty cool. Devin Haney on his Instagram talking about he in New York, going to Jacob the Jewelers, going to the Knicks game. He promoting himself at the game. So yeah, definitely, man. It was definitely something. It wasn't as boring as I thought it would be. Of course, the face off was a little weird again. I'm really I think it's all for show. That's to build up the fight, but it didn't look too genuine. But especially after Ryan telling the guy he respects him, and then they get in the face of each other and they start beefing, like where'd that come from? I mean, that energy just changed. So I get it. It's all promotion, but sometimes you gotta welcome that easy. You know what I mean? So,
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. As far as Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney is concerned, have your thoughts changed at all? Like, can and will this fight be a competitive fight? Like, do you see Ryan Garcia being? Can you take him? Is he putting himself in a position to be taken more seriously? Is he his confidence, what he plans on doing, what he can do, the history that Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia have. They've known each other ever since they were 9 years old, competing with each other, and honestly seem like they've been, quite friendly with each other. Families seem to be quite friendly with each other. Can this fight be a real competitive fight?
Oh, I'm laughing at this now, knowing that Ryan's mom was a judge and his dad was the referee in a standing 8-count fight. That actually shines some light on things, and it's a shame that we had to find that out and get exposed in this press conference.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't think he was the referee in their fight. Was he?
I think he said that. He said he felt some type of way about it. He said in the standing 8-count fight, he said he felt some kind of way.
Okay. I know he said he was a ref.
If I'm wrong, somebody please correct me in the chat. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. I could be wrong, but
I'm not ready to say you're wrong though. Because
that's why I'm asking, because I thought that's what I heard. Right. I was doing my homework, so I was just listening. But at the same time, I just think that he said he was the ref in that fight. Yep.
Okay.
So that puts him. Oh, hold on, I got it wrong from 2 cents. Hold on.
That's wrong.
I got a yes. Wrong. I got it wrong. Not that's a judge in the fight.
Yeah, exactly. I think he was a judge in like the tournaments and stuff like that, but not in the specific fight. I don't think they would allow Ryan Garcia's father to be a judge in Ryan Garcia's fight.
He said they got the fight for free. That's why he said that.
I know, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, I don't think just off the rules. There's got to be some rules or something. It's an amateur fight. There has to be some rules that says your father's not allowed to be the referee.
If they put the truth out there and said he was Oscar De La Hoya's son, I mean, guess what? It doesn't matter.
That part.
But in all seriousness, all right, regardless of that being correct or not, at the end of the day, it still is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, we have situations where these guys have fought, they know each other. I think Ryan's style is just definitely it has a lot of flaws in it, and I don't see the competitiveness at all. Because if and when you're in gear, I mean, I'm pretty sure Mazuma can speak for this. Jose can speak for this. Any other boxers that do sparring or have been training or in the ring with somebody, when you're in this gear, you're protected, and it's not like, and you're just going for broke sometimes if you don't really have a style, because it's harder to score. The scoring is different in amateurs, so you know what I mean. It's not the same, but at the end of the day, guess what? It is what it is. How they rank it, they rank it. How they do it, they do it. You know what I mean, I really don't have a really big say on it. I just think it's not going to be the same in styles. Styles make fights, and I think this is easily Devin's fight to win or to lose.
Right. I think Devin just needs to take it very seriously and fight it in a serious way, and I think he should win. But I thought that for me, I'm gonna tell you what changed for me after the press conference. I saw Ryan Garcia, by any means necessary, thinks he can beat Devin. I believe he thinks he can do it. Not wanting to do it is one thing, but I believe him that he thinks he can do it. And I also am very interested in seeing how it made me just even more interested in seeing how him and Derek James work together as a team. Is Derek James going to be able to bring Ryan Garcia to his next level in boxing? And is he going to become a disciplined fighter who's able to take direction and do what his coach is telling him to do? It seems as if Ryan is very concerned with doing that. He wants to be a legacy fighter right now. He said that as well. He wants to make the best fights. And you could say anything you want to say about Ryan Garcia, but one thing we can't take away from him is, and I'm always going to celebrate him for that, is the fact that he's willing to take on these challenges. He wants to get in the biggest fights. He believes his own hype. And I think that's a big part of making a great fight, because I think athletic-wise, Ryan has the athletic ability to make this a good fight. Right. He just needs to believe in his training. He needs to believe on what he worked on outside of the ring, and he needs to be able to block out all the noise and not allow a little bit of pressure to change his mind and have him impulsively acting on some adversity. He needs to have faith in his coach and take those directions. But that the press conference for me did make me be like, all right, this fight might be even more competitive. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like also, Ryan, I feel like Devin is looking for a reason to be angry. I think he's truly looking for a reason to be angry. And I saw that Ryan Garcia was aware of that, and he's trying to diffuse the anger. right? Like his tactics in the beginning was to get him angry. Then all of a sudden he was apologizing for making fun of his religion, and you know what I'm saying, and just giving all these accolades and laughing a lot with Devin when he wasn't doing that before. So I thought that was interesting here. Let me see. Derek James, one of the worst trainers. Shake my head. Ryan is done. Okay. Andrew Charles says, contrary to what some people claim, Devin is a decently aggressive fighter. I have no doubt he's going to try to press Ryan. Okay. Go ahead. You was gonna say something.
Yeah. So back to what you just said. I don't see that. I'll tell you why. I don't see the focus, because the man's talking about using his right hand to knock him out, like as a joke. Like, what focus is that? You know what your hand is. Everybody knows your one trick pony rule, as they say, or what you come to fight with. You're only one dimensional. And then he's saying he's going to use his right hand, which is okay. You're exposing the facts that you're going to try to do something different. I like that. But you're saying it in a matter of, okay, well, you're going to do this. And same thing with Devin. All right, well, we'll knock you out in the first round. It's obviously boxing. There's a lot of talk, and I'll bet you who gets held more accountable for this situation. We're going to see. We already know who's going to be held more accountable for what they state. It's just the way that the world of boxing is, because we have favorites and we have people we just don't like, which is weird, because the people out there are, biased to who they are. They're allowed to choose who they like. That's the good thing about being a fan of the sport. I just don't see Ryan if he tries to do this right hand knockout. I don't see him being successful with it. I think that's going to be the end of his night, seriously, because it's going to be something that they're willing to set him up like they did Regis. They're willing to walk him into stuff, and they're trying to do it right now promotionally wise, right? They did the same thing with the Ryan's dad. Tell him, "Come on, Bill, you're not trying to get this out of us. Stop trying to find out what our game plan is." Ryan would build it. He I don't think he realizes he does stuff unwillingly. It just comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's when the pressure gets on. It's sort of like Berlanga a little bit. Like when the pressure gets on Berlanga, or he starts feeling trouble, he has an instinct to cheat, right? An instinct to throw an elbow, hit a low shot. He just reacts. He just wants to get you off of him, and he just goes into a bag that it's just there's no integrity in it. It seems like Ryan gets into his reflexes to throw that left hand and go reckless and start going to try to take off your head. What I'm going to do is I'm getting ready to throw the link in here, because there's a lot of conversation happening in the chat. There's a lot of opinions on this topic. I also want to get some perspective on the PBC situation and see if anybody wants to shed light on it. Definitely want to get 2 cents up here. I don't know if Mark is still in the building or not, but if he is, I'd like to get him up here as well. I know Ross Cloud. I'm hoping Ross Cloud comes up here. You know what I'm saying? There's a link, guys. If you guys want to hit the link and come in, and I'm definitely dying to hear some of your perspective. J Cash the Money Man says Berlanga go into his Margarito bag when shit not looking good. 100%. Berlanga's not scared to test those limits, and he'll see if he's gonna lose a point or not. Like, if you ain't gonna take a point, that elbow was worth it, bro. I don't care if you reprimand me. Salute the 2 cents in the building. Salute the 2 cents in the building. 2 cents. How you doing today?
What's going on? What up, Ray?
What's up, 2 cents?
How y'all doing?
Chilling.
We talking boxing as regular, man. We're just trying to get some perspective on this crazy world of boxing that we're in. How's everything going on your side of the yard? Pretty good. I just want to drop my 2 cents about a couple of things I spoke about, especially with the PBC. I got a few points to make. I hope I can remember them all. But my first point I want to make is I think people should take a look at the industry of sports as a whole and notice that no sports are really doing good right now. It's not just boxing. Ever since 2020 and the whole pandemic thing, that really changed the landscape of sports and how they're profiting and making money. You see the NBA doing other things, the NFL trying to do other things. And then you also see the trend of sports leaving networks and going to streaming platforms. And with that point, I want to say, why is it that when PBC does anything that other promotional companies do, they're either running out of money or going out of business? And I heard Clay say earlier, oh, well, when you try to have a PBC conversation, they bring up the other networks. But Top Rank only has fights on Thursdays and Fridays now. They're not doing any more Saturday fights.
nobody is saying they're running out of money or they're going out of business. Obviously, some things have changed with ESPN and what they got going on. Now, this is the point too, as far as the Canelo thing that nobody is bringing up. When PBC was moving to Amazon, I kept hearing that Canelo was going to fight his last 2 fights still with Showtime. So I don't know how true that is or whatever, but I remember also hearing that. And then another thing is that I heard Espinoza say that they're still working on 2 other network deals. So they're still trying to, you know, find other places to have their fights and do their fights. And it wouldn't make sense for Al Heyman to continuously do bad business year after year, network after network, and still continue to get deals. All the way up into getting a deal with Amazon Prime, one of the biggest streaming platforms. That just really doesn't make any sense. So it just seems to me like they're trying to get the business together and try to figure some things out. And also with PBC's business model, I'm under the impression that they don't really give big guarantees. Usually those fighters are making their money on the back end. So the money that they're making, they've earned that through their pay-per-view sales. Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis didn't get a $30 million guarantee. They got small guarantees and they make that money. They make that money on the back end. Now the other companies give bigger guarantees like Top Rank and this and that, and they don't really give a back end because Rachel Donaire broke it down one day, and they have to sell so many pay-per-views before they ever even get a back end. And so that's one of the reasons, from my understanding, that Pacquiao left and went to PBC, because he would be able to make more money on the back end. So I think a lot of the information that people have is a little bit misconstrued. And as far as Canelo goes, he's had business issues with every promotional company he's been with. And he's walked away and left those companies. So to me, this is just Canelo being Canelo. I don't understand why when things happen with PBC, they're either going out of business or they're running out of money. It doesn't. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. People leave promotional companies all the time and switch promotional companies or go to other promotional companies. Nobody ever says that the company don't have no money and they go out of business. PBC has been going out of business since they started. Like, they've literally been saying that every year since they've started. And it's not the matter of Al Heyman being a Harvard grad or this and that. It's who Al Heyman is, who Al Heyman has worked with throughout the years. He's part of some of what Michael Jackson, Prince, Eddie Murphy. He's part of some of the biggest promotions ever that we ever know. They're with Al Heyman. Even to this day, he works with Drake. Drake even mentioned it in his song. So I don't know what this obsession is with PBC going out of business and or running out of money. Like, I don't get that. Just give them time to get it together, because economically the whole landscape of everything has changed.
Agree.
Everything has changed.
I just want to touch base on something you said. I do understand everything you made a point on, but the Espinoza thing. Espinoza worked for Showtime and Paramount. He did not work for PBC. He doesn't deal with PBC except for trying to help them bridge the gap with Amazon. There's no room for him there. He didn't say that he was working with them or for them. So
he's with Amazon now, working with PBC. That's what he does now.
I didn't hear he got hired by Amazon. I heard he was just trying to bridge the gap for PBC because they came from Showtime. He was just trying to assist with that.
No, he worked with Amazon, and they hired the Showtime staff to work for Amazon.
Okay, so then I'll have to, I have to go and read that. No problem. Thank you for checking me. As far as back end goes, I think that's what we were talking about. I don't have a problem with them making back end money. I think what the situation is with the back end is the guarantees are what they are. I mean, $5 million is still a lot for a guarantee. 3.5 or 2.5 is still a lot for a guarantee for fighters. When you see most fighters getting their guarantees either in a contract or a few fight deals, or they're getting them within like a smaller guarantee, and then they make back end money. The back end money is always there, but the promoter usually takes a big cut out of it. So when we get those situations, that's when we're seeing like Shakur and guys like that, when they're making, let's just say he took that offer for $50 million. He's taking the $50 million. He's not taking any back end. It just all depends on the fight or the fighters and how everything is register in that moment. And as far as the music industry with Al Heyman, even the music industry has changed. They're all making their money, which Al Heyman is really good at, in live performances and on streams. They're no longer making money on CDs or anything that's recorded. Even if you buy the music from Amazon, they're really getting like maybe $1 per sale, which is a lot. Here's a say from what it was last time, but it's still not, what it is when you were making 2, 3, 4 cents an album, and you were making these record sales, and they were going out the door and selling out, and had to make mass copies, and then you were making your money on the road as well. So I see what you're saying. I don't disagree with really much that you've been saying, but as far as, like I said, as far as what some of the points are, we just have to see where it is with boxing. And you're right, a lot of sports are taking downfalls, but they're all moving to the same platforms. Basketball and football, I don't see them really taking much of a dive. They just took advertisement dollars and they started putting them on the uniforms and things like that to make up for some of the monies that they lost, and making different tournaments to make it more feasible. And a lot of
their ratings are they have taken the ratings are down.
Right.
They had to figure out different things to do in order to make that money.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. You just proved my point. Like, just like with the music industry, the landscape of everything has changed. And
Right.
I think with this change, and as far as PBC goes, we're gonna see them make even better fights now.
Okay.
Because
Well, here, let me tap in right quick just to say this, right? Just to answer the question as far as from my perspective as to why PBC is getting so much heat. Are they getting heat? Yes. Is it undeserving? No, I don't think it's undeserving. I think as a business, operating, promoting fighters and putting fights together, if we don't see the fights getting put together, if we don't see the cards put together, it's only fair that we question what's going on over there. Now, PBC can choose to answer the questions and say, listen, we're working on some things and we're putting things together, and we'll sit back and watch it happen. But the concern is a legitimate concern. The idea that they're above scrutiny or they shouldn't be scrutinized because all these other businesses have had their turn in, slowing down or not making as much money as they did. It's just not it's not realistic. They're always going to be scrutinized. When you're a company like PBC, who was put on the fights you were doing last year, who had the year that you did have last year, and you come on this year and your first card of the year is coming at the end of the first quarter, and it's topped with a Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu, and the information's already been put out there that was a last minute fight that was put together due to the bigger fight that the world was anticipating happening, falling apart. Questions can be put out there as to whether or not it's because of financial reasons, where they're not able to pay the fighters, things of that nature. It's just part of the game, right? When you see Canelo Alvarez leave the PBC, when you see Subriel Matias leave the PBC, when you see Ray Vargas leave the PBC, when you're hearing about all these countless fighters that are leaving and going to other promotional panels, lack of activity. These fighters get paid off fights. They don't get paid to sit at home. So if they're not fighting and they're not making money and they're leaving, the question is, PBC knew that this Showtime situation was coming. Although it was last minute to a degree, they knew it in enough time to be able to prepare better and to have these cards put together in a better way. They still haven't even with the Tank Davis and Frank Martin card that's getting put together in June. We don't even know. I don't even know if that's been finalized. And on top of that, what's the undercard going to look like? You've lost your May 4th fight, clearly, if Canelo Alvarez is actually leaving, because we don't know if he's actually leaving, but it does look like there's a high probable chance that he's leaving. There's a lot of things that just looks half done, and it looks like they were ill prepared in putting it together. So it's just questions, it's just concerns, it's just fans who want to see boxing matches put together by fighters who happen to be underneath that banner, having questions about when they're going to see those fights, and they're not getting answers either way. So naturally the questions are going to come up. What's going on with the PBC? And not to villainize them, right? I'm sure you got some PBC haters out there who are actually trying to villainize Al Heyman and make him the devil and everything like that. But I think there's legitimate questions and concerns about when are we going to see these fights happen. And although I respect your argument that you're putting up here, I think the bigger question that needs to be answered is, when are we going to see these fights? You know what I mean? We just can't wait.
Nobody's above the scrutiny.
Right.
My biggest thing is just the villainization and the continuous they going out of business. They don't have no money. Like
Oh no.
That's just that's what I'm saying that I don't understand.
Well, I mean, we know that 2 cents. We know at the end of the day that people are just going to villainize people.
Right.
There's always going to be that group of people that villainize people. But like I said, I do believe there's a large amount of people who aren't really concerned with villainizing the PBC. I think there's a large group of people who want the PBC to succeed, but they're like, yo, if you're not succeeding, you know what I mean? The other part. Let me pull into the room my boy, my dog, my brother from another mother, that guy. I don't know. Y'all really need to follow me. Knowledge is infinite, and it's a pleasure to have you on the platform today. Always a pleasure to have you on here, brother. Go ahead and speak your mind.
What's going on, y'all? Talk to me. What's going on?
Well, we talk. Actually, you know what? I ain't gonna hold you, Mazuma. Give me 2 seconds. Hold on, I got freaking fly up here. Also, King of the YTBC, are you there? You've been kind of sitting there quietly, and I haven't heard nothing. I apologize. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's just me. You know, kings don't. The king of the YTBC really don't speak that much since I obliterate everybody that I come in contact with who want to debate me. But y'all go ahead, man. I'm listening.
All right, no doubt. The freaking flies in the building as well. But what we're talking about is PBC right now. 2 cents was basically putting an argument up there saying that what's happening to them isn't that far-fetched, pretty normal for a company who's transitioning into a new chapter in their in the company trajectory, just moving onto a new chapter. It's very common for them to go through these building stages. She's basically saying these are building stages, and we might be making more out of nothing about what's going on with the PBC right now.
Salute, Bradley 68.
Salute, y'all. What's going on? Clay, Ray.
Peace.
I don't think Mazuma heard me.
What?
Okay. You heard me, Mazuma?
What's up, Queen?
I didn't. You was
okay. I was basically saying that 2 cents was saying that what's going on with the PBC is not that big of a deal as everybody's making it. That at the end of the day, it's actually pretty normal in the climate of how things are going on in sports right now. A lot of sports are slowing down and having to revisit their business models, and the PBC is just in a normal transition phase as far as the business is concerned.
I mean, I don't necessarily know what's going on over there. Only people that really know at the end of the day is the people that's behind the curtains, the people that's behind the scenes. But in all honesty, from what I've seen, man, when you run a business, you're gonna have your highs, you're gonna have your lows, and sometimes you gotta go. Just like when fighters come up short in a fight, they gotta go back to the drawing board and make adjustments. And maybe that's the point that PBC is at right now, where they're noticing that they need to change some things in order to continue surviving. You know what I mean? From what I understand, I heard so many different reports of the whole Canelo Alvarez situation and him splitting. From what I understand, he didn't want to take a pay cut for the Jamal Charlo fight. Meanwhile, I'm hearing that they actually had the $35 million in hand, but they wanted to make sure that in September. At first, I heard that for that $35 million, they'd rather him fight Jaime Munguia. Then I'm hearing that they would have gave him the guarantee for Jamal Charlo, but only under the condition that he faces Benavidez in September. I don't know. I don't know what to believe. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's so many different things that's going on. It's almost overwhelming in a sense that I don't like. As somebody who's a content creator, just like y'all, it's hard for me to, create videos about these topics because you hear one thing and then you want to address that one, then a whole nother report comes out and you address it, and then it's like, damn, what did I make this video for? If this next article that's being brought to the table completely goes against what I was just reporting. So it's like, I don't know, man. I guess time will tell. I don't know exactly what current state that PBC is in. If you listen to guys like Rick Glacier and stuff like that, he'll let you know that PBC is going to be done by the end of this year. Then there's other people like Steven Espinoza and Leonard Ellaby that are making it appear that PBC is okay. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what to believe, bro. I guess time will tell. Time will give us all the answers that we need. But just like any other business, you have your highs, you have your lows. And whenever you reach those lows, you got to make the adjustments necessary in order to continue thriving. I don't really know what's going on, though.
Yeah, very well said, in my opinion, Mazuma. I totally agree. In 2 cents, just to touch base with you, I do believe PBC had probably the best year I've ever seen in boxing in a long time. So I do appreciate them for that. and I want them to succeed. I actually like their platforms and how they promote when they do have big years like they did last year. So I would like to continue seeing that and if that makes all the sense. So I'm not against them. Just to let you know, I was just going with the questions that's being said in the media. That's what we're addressing here.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
at the end of the day,
yeah, not knocking them, right? Not knocking them, but once again, you know, me myself, I've gone on record as a questioning the structure of the deal between them and Amazon, and not questioning as far as like, you know, they suck and y'all need to be looking at it, but just at the end of the day, just being somebody who's a boxing fan and who's a content creator in the space, I think every content creator should have some questions at this point as to what is happening with the PBC fighters, and not because we care about their money, but why we haven't seen fights, and we should ask questions. We shouldn't just sit back and not watch fights from the PBC and not have any questions as to why we're not seeing fights. Aren't we fight fans? Are we not boxing fans? Do we not want to see fights? A question should always be there. You know what I mean? Just, hey, when's the PBC going to do a free fight card? What's going on with that? This pay-per-view card, be honest about it. Like it's kind of beneath the PBC and what they put out as pay-per-view. Like, really? Keith Thurman?
Yeah, also too, some of these fighters in PBC, they gotta fight. They can't just keep trying to say, oh, I need to get paid this and I need to get paid that, and this gotta make sense and that gotta make sense. These dudes gotta fight. And I think with people like when a lot of these fighters in the PBC, when they see Tank making so much money fighting all these easy fights, a lot of those fighters, it's like, how come I gotta have these hard fights when this dude is getting the easy fights? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if once these fighters just start continuously fighting consistently, maybe that will help PBC. Until then, if they just ducking and making negotiations and the fight ain't happening, that organization gonna fail.
100%.
That's Rock Squad right there.
Yeah,
man.
That's not really on the PBC. That's on the fighters individually.
But that's what I mean. Well, that's what I'm saying. You gotta. These guys gotta fight. You gotta let them know. Look, this is what it is. You guys need to fight. These fighters can't. PBC can't make a lot of money when each fighter is fighting once a year. These dudes got to fight 3-4 times a year. I don't know what happened with this generation, but these boxers, in my opinion, are very lazy. They just want one big payday fight each year, and it's ruining boxing.
Hey, Clay, who is Dan Rayfield? Is he a credible source as far as the PBC?
He's a cheeseburger eating motherfucker. That's what he is.
Yeah, but he talks boxing. He talks boxing.
Because I heard another story from another channel with him all up in the mix, saying that he came out and said that the original 3-fight deal that the PBC had with Canelo, it consisted of the Charlo brothers and Errol Spence, saying that it was Jamel first and then Jamal second and Errol Spence last, and then Errol Spence lost to Bud, and then he had the whole eye injury thing that messed that part up, and they were saying that they lost money. The PBC lost money on the Jamel versus Charlo fight. Right. I mean, not my bad. The Jamel versus Canelo fight, and so they didn't want to have the Jamal versus Canelo after that, because they thought it was going to be a loss as well, you know, seeing the other brother. And so they tried to switch it up and throw Benavidez in the mix, and Canelo said, no, that's a no-go. Canelo backed out. He said it had to be the same or whatnot.
I find that to be a little false, because I actually heard that the first 2 fights were going to be if Earl won the second fight, as far as Jamel was the first fight. And if Earl lost, it would be Jamal or someone else. But the last fight was supposed to be Benavidez down in September. There was always supposed to be Benavidez. That was with the contract. That's what was rumored. Now, just to let you know, no different than Dougie Fisher is Dan Rayfield. So his opinions vary, and they're just opinions. So a lot of things he says are just media pushed. So we just got to remember that and realize those things. A lot of those things are not factual. They're more hateful than anything, and it comes with a bias. So you just got to remember that frequently when it comes to guys like that.
Right. I mean, it's opinions, guys, like 2 Cents is in the building, myself, we got Mark in the building. We're content creators in the space. We take the information in, and most of the time we're going to give our personal opinions on what we're seeing. Sometimes it's going to look like hate. People who want to see it that way, especially when you're criticizing somebody who somebody may resonate with a little closer than other people or other platforms. It can look like that, but ultimately, a Dan Raphael or Dan Rayfield, whatever his name is, he's going to give his perspective, and at times it's going to look like he's being a little too honest, or maybe he's not being he's not handling it with a tender hand, what I'm saying, with the way he's delivering the information. It can sound like hate, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's just perspective. It's just conversation without him talking directly to you and you being able to respond back to him. You know what I mean? But let me ask you guys a question here on the panel. So with PBC going through what they're going through right now with Canelo, as far as Canelo separating from PBC, as far as pros and cons of Canelo leaving the PBC, obviously the people who are going to say this is the worst thing that could ever happen to the PBC, that Canelo Alvarez leaving the PBC is just a sign that the PBC is going down. They clearly don't have money. If they lose this, how are they going to make money? There's that part of the conversation, but there's also another side to the conversation, right? Like, how does Canelo not being with the PBC potentially benefit the PBC at this point?
Well, my first question: how many fights has Canelo had with the PBC?
Well,
Two.
Hold on. Well, are we talking career-wise?
What was the first one?
No, I'm saying two. Not career-wise, but since he's quote unquote joined. Okay, so he was never really a big part of the PBC anyway, right? And if he's getting paid $35 million a fight, essentially, that's gonna free up some money in the budget.
Right, that's what I'm tapping into. Exactly. Go ahead. No, that's exactly what I was trying to get your point of view on that. So yeah.
So I mean, he's had one fight, and all of a sudden, he was such a big part of the PBC. He wasn't.
Right. Well, I don't know, and I agree with you, right? As far as
started his career there,
I think the future of the PBC was supposed to be supposedly brighter because Canelo Alvarez was there, not what he was doing presently or because of him was the only reason the PBC was afloat. But I think the whole addition of Canelo Alvarez to the PBC roster was supposed to make their future brighter. And a lot of people feel like Canelo Alvarez was one of the key elements that got them to deal with Amazon Prime, right? Like Canelo Alvarez.
If we're honest, like I said earlier, Canelo Alvarez isn't reliable or dependable. He leaves every network he's with because of some reason.
Because he has the power to.
Yeah. Well, Benavidez is the main reason in this case.
But Rosclott, what do you think? What are the benefits of Canelo leaving? Pros and cons. What's the con? What's the pro?
Okay, for us boxing fans, the con is we're not going to get the fight that we want to see, which is Benavidez and or Crawford. So those fights not going to happen. We're not going to see we may see a Bivol rematch. That's possible, but I doubt it. So that's one of the cons. We don't know who he's going to fight. Munguia, Berlanga. I mean, come on. Is that what fights people really want to see? And I mean, I don't know. What's the pros for PBC other than Benavidez got to become the next big star for PBC so that maybe move up to 175. Maybe they need to create new stars. Tim Zhu, create new stars out of some of these dudes. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. But what I do know is Canelo don't want to fight Benavidez for whatever reason.
Right. I agree with you. I think, listen, from my point of view, I think there's the con is, the aesthetic look of it all, right? How it looks from the outside looking in may, make people, like we're doing right now, question the PBC and what's going on over there. But I also believe that Canelo leaving may actually give the PBC the room they need to actually put focus on fights happening now, being that they don't have to. I think Canelo's a big responsibility. It takes a lot of attention. It takes a lot of resources to keep the Canelo machine moving. Him not being there may open it up, and we might see a revive. You know, we might see PBC wake up a little bit and kind of be revived a little bit, and we might be able to see them actually move forward in a positive direction. It could be a pro. It could help out the PBC in a way, because like 2 Cent said, freeing up $35 million is nothing to bat your eyelashes at. What about you, Mark? What do you think? Are you there?
Well, yeah, I agree with. I'm sorry. What the guy that was it? Yeah.
Oh, Ross Scott.
Ross Scott. I agree with the con that he said. Unfortunately, it looks like the Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez fight is dead in the water. You know what I mean? That might not be a fight that we'll ever see, unfortunately, especially with David Benavidez moving up to 175. Real similar to Devin Haney. Once he moves up in weight, he's not going to go back down. Once David Benavidez gets the feel for how good he feels at light heavyweight, he will never drop down to super middleweight again. You know what I mean? Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna let y'all get back to that. I'm gonna answer that other half of the question.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Once Benavidez move up, he ain't gonna be able to. He's struggling to make 168 now. That's the reason why he want to hurry up and get this fight out of the way now. He needs to get it done now, because by wait another year or two, he ain't gonna be able to make that fight. And then dudes like Better Biev and all them dudes probably gonna be on their way out soon. So Benavidez got to make them moves now. That's why, like I said, we can't keep holding on to Canelo being a star and like all these stars. Crawford, these dudes is leaving. We need these younger guys to become new stars, and I just don't see that happening. Like the only person I see trying to be a star is Devin Haney. Everybody else, I don't know. In Nui, no one cares about anything under 135 pounds. Anything under 135 pounds, no one gives a shit about. So what we need is new stars, guys to be motivated to become the new star. Forget these old dudes. Crawford gonna be 40 in 4 years. So I don't know what's going on, man. Boots, all these guys got to make a name for themselves now and become the future. And I don't see that happening.
So wait, didn't Canelo go up there already though? Canelo went up there at 175, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's not there anymore. But he's not there anymore.
No, he got franchise belt. He moving up and down, right?
He even won a championship there too, frequent. If you didn't know.
Say that again.
He has 2 fights there. He won a champion, the title there too.
Yeah, when he beat Kovabum. That's when he won the title.
Yeah, so the Benavidez fight still is a possibility. You know, even if Benavidez moved up to 175, since Canelo been there twice.
Well, for whatever it's worth, Eddie Hearn did say that at the end of the day. That's one thing I got to give Eddie Hearn credit for, man. I'm telling you, man, this guy has no problem cross promoting. He said the fight is still available there for David Benavidez if Canelo comes over to Matchroom in the zone. He says it's available there. He's willing to negotiate and figure a way out to make that bridge. He says he actually believes that the fight with David Benavidez is still a very realistic thing. I don't know if I co-sign that thought, but at the end of the day, I don't think Benavidez is completely out of the question. I'll tell you what though. Of David Benavidez going up to 175 and then potentially unifying, becoming an undisputed champion up there, being that he's going to be the number one, he's going to be the mandatory for the winner between Better Biev and Bivol, as long as he wins his fight that he has to win. He becomes undisputed at light heavyweight. I think the conversation can change dramatically. I think things can change real quickly because now Canelo has vested interest. Although it's a dangerous fight for Canelo, at least right now he's weighing out greatness to become undisputed in 2 weight classes.
What I think we're missing here is a valuable piece of this puzzle. If Benavidez does moves up, there's a guy that's been calling him out that's been around by the name of David Morrell, which I think he will chase Benavidez up there because he's been already calling Benavidez out, and that will keep the action going at 175. Ross Clyde, to answer that question.
Yeah. So can I say something about that situation? Can I say something about that situation? PB, that goes back to what I mean about being a star and trying to make a name for yourself. I know for sure that Morrell and Benavidez, I'm pretty sure they don't have no problem fighting each other. My question is, does Heyman want to risk his future star Benavidez potentially losing a fight? So that's why we don't see that fight happening, because Benavidez is more popular than Morrell right now. The talks of Morrell fighting Canelo ain't even, only diehards even talk about that. Right. So To me, oh, they could make that fight happen. But again, this is why those dudes ain't making no money. They not making no fights.
Right.
Period. That's I don't know.
The glory days are over, brother. You know that. You know what I mean? We don't have that 80 clashing no more. We don't have that early 90s. Just get in the ring, let's climb these ropes and let's fight. We don't have that no more.
Yeah, I think I think everybody's hitting on some good points. Like I think Roscott is telling I really co-sign the point of view that this is an opportunity for a new star to be born in PBC, and there's some potential stars there in the sense of a Jerron Boots Ennis, David Benavidez. These guys are potential stars, and you know, when you open up the space and open up the budget and open up the resources by letting a Canelo Alvarez go, you know, focus can go in on these fighters becoming who we all know they can become, and that can give the PBC a second chance, or you know, a second wind in the game. Shout out, we bringing in two men real quick. J Cash the Money Man and the inevitable D Block is in the building. Salute.
Real quick before y'all guys say something, Clay, I don't know if you remember about a month or two ago, I had mentioned the same thing when they announced the fight with Thurman and Tim Tszyu. I said Tim Tszyu is that star that they're going to try to build upon. I don't know if you remember me saying that. I said, you know, they got to get younger. That was one of my biggest talking points at that moment. So I've already, you know, and much respect to what Ross Clyde is saying, I do remember saying the same thing, and I agree with him 100%.
Right. Let me get some of these guys up in the building as well, man. I'm not sure if Mazuma is back or ready to go. I know he's doing something, so I'm not gonna bother him too much. 2 Cents, where you been at, man, girl? Are you in the building anymore? Is she here?
She right there.
I'm here.
Do you want to tap into the conversation, or your little symbol disappeared?
Yo, can I say something real quick? I just can't.
Wait, hold on, bear with me. Hold on 1 second, family.
I just got a phone call real quick. What I missed?
No,
the younger people. Yeah, they do need to start building up their younger stars, and even with as far as Canelo leaving the PBC and this and that, like we don't know if he had how many more fights he had left. Anyway, he should be on the verge of retiring at this point. He's been fighting for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the focus should be, and I think that once they get all the network situations together, it will be on the younger talent.
Right.
Like you see them, like they already promoting the Cromel Moten and the Boots Ennis. Like these guys are becoming bigger names. There's a lot of people talking about Boots now, especially with the whole Crawford debacle. It's a lot of people like looking into him, seeing who he is, and then you got Mayweather promoting the Cromel Moten. Then of course you still got Tank there, and then you even got the younger guys coming up at the other networks also. So I think we're going to be in a whole new era of boxing, and since these guys, I feel like, are so removed. That's my seatbelt. I don't have it on. But since these guys are so removed from the, you know, the quote unquote Mayweather era, I don't think the whole big paydays and all of this stuff will be as big of a thing as it is now. Right. Especially with the whole climate and everything changing. And I heard somebody saying as far as like making the fight with Morrell and Benavidez, I don't think PBC is adverse to making competitive fights. I mean, you heard AB. He said, you're going to get paid, but you got to fight Godzilla. So I don't think they're necessarily adverse to making tough and difficult fights. It just has to make business sense.
And exactly. That's what I'm saying. It has to make business sense. That's the main thing that's killing boxing is the business part of it.
Boxing is a business first, though. Boxing is a business.
Yeah, and in order for it to be a business, these guys got to fight.
I was going to say that. I disagree. I think it's a fight first. The money comes with the prize. That's why it's called prize fighting. So the business is actually supposed to take care of them agreeing to fight, and as far as that goes, the fight brings the money. That's the way it's supposed to go.
So my question is
that's
this:
the way we think it goes. Because if that's the way it's supposed to go, that's the way it would be going.
Unfortunately, you know how it goes. Go ahead, Freakin', what you say?
So my question is this: is it a duck? Is this a documented duck for Canelo?
Absolutely.
Benavidez like that?
Absolutely. He said out his own mouth.
Ray Davis said it ain't no duck. I was struggling to figure out how.
No. He said out his own mouth, I'm a Mexican. I'm not going to fight other Mexicans. That's a duck. Period.
Well,
And then Benavidez said he not Mexican, right?
right.
Yeah.
And what I was saying is, and I'll explain this in a minute. I want to let some other people get in, and I'll come back to it frequent so I can explain my point.
Yeah. No, just at the end of the day, as far
I touched on it
I'm
earlier.
about to say we spoke about it. We did speak about it earlier. At the end of the day, yes, Canelo is a duck. I think he's been ducking for a minute. And in the duck, in the definition, in the sense of the word, that's the fight he should be fighting. That's the fight the fans want to see him fighting. And I think he's more than clearly shown that he's not trying to make that fight happen. But at the same time, the other part, and the money's there. But at the same time, the other part of the conversation is these sanctioning bodies have to be held accountable as well. The way they're allowing him to move with those belts and not holding him to any type of mandatory, to any type of stripping if he doesn't fight as mandatory, you have to say and keep it 100. At the end of the day, if they're not going to hold him accountable, you almost can't even fault him for moving the way he feels like moving. That's why these sanctioning bodies need to become a little bit more stern, a little bit more demanding, and they need to take boxing back away from these fighters and put boxing back into a structure to where these belts start to get the recognition and hold the weight that they're supposed to hold in boxing. Belts should matter in boxing. I've always said that. I don't subscribe to the idea that belts don't matter. I think the way the sanctioning bodies have handled the belts have made the belts not matter, but the belts should always matter.
They're creating the atmosphere. It's the sanctioning bodies that's creating the atmosphere.
But this is exactly what I was saying earlier, Clay, and I'm going to counter this again. What you're saying, like I agree with everything you said. So the only reason why I'm countering is because who is Canelo? Canelo is the face of boxing. He can choose whoever he wants and makes the same bag as if he fought Benavidez. It's not going to take anything away from him. He has that right to. If it's a duck, it's a duck. That's how you feel. I don't really care about that. What I'm saying is he doesn't have to take the risk. Just like Bud don't got to take the risk to fight Boots. He doesn't. They don't have to take the risk. They're the champions. They, unless it's mandated, they don't have to take these risks, guys. And that, at the end of the day, that's what it is. They're at the end of their careers. They don't really care, and they're gonna make their money. That is the problem. Exactly. I agree with. That's why I said I agree with you. You know what I mean, in most parts. But when the fighters have the power to do so, guess what? They can go choose and fight pull Ryder out of retirement and fight him again. They can do that, and that's a problem. But at the same time, you're not holding a gun to my head forcing me to do this, so why I'm going to do it? And that's what it comes down to.
So you saying somebody got to be forcing you to make the fight in order for it to be a duck?
No, I didn't say that.
Basically, that's what you're saying.
If that's what you got from that, that's not what I said. I said it can be a duck, is what I said.
Claymore, can I say something?
Go ahead. What's up,
my
brother?
bad, yo. I'm so sorry. Inevitable D Block. The solution inevitable be D Block in the building. Go ahead, brother.
Man, you already know it's inevitable. It's D Block, D Town, D City, D-Ville, Baltimore. Facts. You know what I love about this, and this is why I love this show, man. This show is right here, dearest to my heart, man. And like I said, I've been to maybe so many shows, but at the end of the day, I got to come home, man. This is home right here. We keep it respectful. We keep it like it is. Ain't nobody up here trying to act like they're better than anybody else. That's what I love and I respect about this. We talking boxing, something that we love. Canelo Alvarez, at the end of the day, has fought Trout, has fought Mayweather when he was 23 years old, has fought Lara when Lara went up to the press conference and said, I want to fight you. And he made an impact there. Canelo's like, wait, hold on now. Hold on now. You ain't going to come to my press conference and talk shit to me like that. And he took on the fight. And then he fought, who else did he fight, guys? The boogeyman at 160. The man that they never thought that he was going to fight. The guy that they say he was ducking at a young, ripe age of 27 years old. He took on Triple G the first fight. 28 years old, he took on Triple G the second time. And he won. Did you see how he felt in that when he won? He felt like he won the world. He wrapped around the world and said, I am legitimate now. They can't talk shit about me.
Yeah, but Triple G was an OG when they fought.
I'm talking. If it's all right with you.
No, that's cool. I'm just saying Triple G was old as dirt when they fought, though. But go ahead.
All right. So at the end of the day, he went up, fought Daniel Jacobs. And we already know there was contractual obligations because they didn't want to let him fight for the IBF title, CINCO. CINCO didn't want that money. We already know that. It's there. It's printed. He was going to go for undisputed. At the end of the day, we got to go like this. He fought Daniel Jacobs, a beautiful black slick fighter going in there, and he made him look like just schooled him. It was a great fight. You can't say it wasn't.
Daniel Jacobs was washed.
You can't say that.
That was a great fight.
He was a champion, man. You can't say that. How?
Yo, Jose, you blinked out.
Can you hear
me? Jose?
It wasn't Jose.
Yeah, can you hear me? How can you say that Daniel Jacobs? See, this is the problem right here, guys. Let me Claymore. Was Daniel Jacobs washed?
I don't feel like he was. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he was towards the end.
He was old,
but he was good.
No, he wasn't washed, but he was past.
No, hold on. You said hold on. You said he was washed. Tell me why he was washed.
Old. He was at the end of his career already, man.
All right, that was Jose.
When was that fight? When was that fight? Do you remember?
A few years back.
Years back.
We can look it up.
Look it up, Claymore. Quick. How old was Daniel Jacobs when he fought him?
He was already over the hill.
Jacobs versus Canelo. He was. Let's see here. We're almost there. I promise you, we're almost there.
It's actually Saul Alvarez.
What the hell's going on here? All these things. Why are you showing out on me? It was more than 4 years ago. I know that. Hold on. Let's do it the easy way. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. You guys keep talking. I'll get that information.
Okay. He fought Daniel Jacobs. He went up, fought Kovalev, the Crusher. He was the same Crusher that fought Andre Ward. And you know what? I would have loved Canelo to fight Andre Ward. That would have been a beautiful fight. That would have been a good and great fight for Andre Ward to fight Canelo Alvarez. The Swan Song, he could have had that. It would have been beautiful. It didn't happen. Right? At the end of the day, you right now, Canelo Alvarez, just like Floyd Mayweather, earned his pinstripes. He can say that he's ducking and dodging, but at the end of the day, May 4th, Cinco de Mayo weekend, whoever's gonna buy it is gonna buy it. You're gonna love it or hate it. You're gonna love it or hate it. And he is the face of boxing.
But
he can do
that
whatever.
Was May 4th,
just like
2019.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
Just like Floyd Mayweather.
How old was Floyd when he fought Canelo though?
What does it matter? Floyd Mayweather was a masterpiece. He's a legend in his own. He's a legend in his own. Floyd Mayweather was taking care of himself so good. No drinking, no smoking, no partying. He was Floyd Mayweather. He's imprinted in here in boxing even today.
Well, wait. So tell us, what do you mean? What are you trying to say about Canelo? What's your point?
Why doesn't Canelo give Benavidez that same shot that Floyd gave him?
Canelo Alvarez can do whatever he wants. If you like it, if you don't like it, if you like, you could call it bullshit. But Floyd Mayweather's last fight,
you agree with that?
Mayweather's last fight was against Andre Berto. Did you like it or not? Nobody liked it and they didn't buy it. So you don't have to fight. You don't have to buy Canelo's next fight. That's all it is.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, for you personally, do you agree with that? So you're cool with him doing what he wants? Is that what you're saying?
He's earned his pinstripes. He can do whatever he wants to do.
So then you don't want to see the Benavidez fight? You don't care about them fighting then?
Benavidez is a flawed fighter. We already know that.
Okay, but
he's a flawed fighter.
Okay, so
let me ask you something.
Do you want to see the fight? Do you want to see the fight?
Let me ask you something.
All right. How about we, real quick, guys, real quick. How about we do this? Everyone in the chat, including the panel, if you want to see Canelo and Benavidez fight, put a CB. If you don't, put no.
I want to rebuttal 2 points when you finish. I want to rebuttal 2 points.
Okay, let me. I'll be quick. Wait. I'll be quick. That way you can get it. Wait, hold on. I'll be quick. That way you can get it 2 cents and do your thing. I'm gonna say like this. The truth of the matter of what ABDULLAH is saying there is a truth there as far as Canelo can clearly do what he wants to do. Clearly, by the way, just by the way he's been moving, he can clearly do what he wants to do. But as far as boxing is concerned, as far as the sport is concerned, as far as bettering the sport and furthering the sport in a positive direction, what Canelo Alvarez is doing is a disservice to boxing. Because at a minimum, if he's going to move in that direction and do the things that he wants to do, at a minimum, what he should do is release those belts and vacate those belts. And then you can do like what Floyd Mayweather does. You can have exhibition fights, or you can go look for the biggest, I'm looking for the word to describe it, but like boutique fights, you know what I'm saying? Like the fights that are just stylistically favorable to you, being an exciting fighter and knocking people out. I mean, we have no problem watching him doing that. But in the spirit of boxing and what boxing is, him extorting boxing and holding the undisputed title hostage at this point and holding a whole division up just so he can do what he wants to do is low integrity in that, and it's not helping boxing. And in the spirit of boxing, and as boxing fans who want to see boxing be great, what Canelo Alvarez is doing doesn't coincide with our ideals of what boxing should be.
I'm with you,
2 cents.
And I agree with that, Claymore, and also I agree with that, and also I agree with that, and also being a duck has nothing to do with being able to do what you want to do. Any fighter can do what they want to do. That's why we calling you a duck, because you choosing not to fight who you should be fighting.
Not any fighter. No.
But guys, hold on. Wait 1 second. I don't want it to get all muddled. I really wanted 2 cents to go ahead and expand, and then we can go back to inevitable D Block, because I think he deserves a chance to defend the statement or whatever have you, and then we can go into frequent. Go ahead, 2 cents.
Well, that was one of the points I was gonna make, Clay, is that listen, you can do what you want to do, right? You've been a champion, you're undisputed, you've reached this quote unquote pinnacle. People gonna buy your fight regardless of who you fight. All of that is cool. But when you're a champion, you have an obligation, in my opinion. You need to continue fighting the best competition. Now, if you want to do what you want to do, don't hold up every single belt in the division while you out here bullshitting. It just doesn't make any sense. Nobody has a problem with Canelo doing what he wants to do. The problem is you have people in the division that have been working hard, making fights, that deserve a shot to be a champion. Benavidez has been doing all this work in the 68 division, and now he's going to probably move up and never get his shot. That's unfair and very selfish. And it's ridiculous for the sanctioning bodies to let that continue. And that's why you have the sentiment of the belts don't matter. Because do they? Because if they did, people would be able to get a shot at them while you running around here doing whatever you want to do, and you're holding up every single belt in the division. It doesn't make any sense, in my opinion.
I agree. Go ahead, Neville. Well, let D-Block go. I promise him to go.
Okay, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You go ahead. Okay,
no, I like what she just said, and I just want to make sure, because I'm an Earl fan. How come we didn't apply that same situation to Earl when he was holding up the division, not letting Boots, Stanionis, and others fight him when he just wanted to fight Bud? I mean, that's a very similar situation. So when we make statements, we got to remember, when we like it for one fighter, we got to like it the same for the other. And I'm an Earl fan, and I didn't really support him doing that, but at the same time, I got to understand, like, what you're saying is 100%, and I agree on both takes on this. 2 cents.
Right.
But at what point was he holding up the division? Was he not unifying and fighting?
Yeah, I disagree with that totally, bro.
Yeah, I disagree with it. I don't think it was the same comparison, but
he did hold up.
D-Block, go ahead.
No. I believe in what he's saying, because he is coming with the truth. Stanionis was supposed to be coming up, and he was supposed to be the next fighter, and they did step aside Bunny. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. I gotta believe what he's saying, because I know I'm understanding what he's saying. You can't just come here and be talking about just this fighter, and at the end of the day, you're okay with your other fighter taking care of their own things and say, well, you know what? It's Canelo. We don't care about nobody else. It's Canelo. But what about Errol Spence? What about Tank Davis? What about all these other legendary fighters that ducked and dodged? I mean, we already know that Lennox Lewis didn't get the fight that he wanted.
Up a division,
we already know that.
Earl never held up the division. Errol never held up the division. He never pulled up people out of different weight classes. He never did any of that.
Let me tell
absolutely,
you something.
2 cents. I agree.
Well, and I'm gonna end it like this. Right now, Stanionis got fucked over, and that's facts. Stanionis never got the chance to fight for that title, ever, and he just got paid twice step aside money. So Errol Spence was holding the belts because he got stepped aside money for the Ugas fight. He got stepped aside money for the Terrence Bud Crawford fight. So when you got to come with it, we got to respect the whole integrity of boxing. And Claymore, you're right. And that's why I love this show. And at the end of the day, as much love and appreciation that I have Canelo Alvarez, I'm understanding where you're coming from. And I got to say like this, I respect what you're saying, and I'm going to go with it. But let's not be hypocrites and just fall for some guy and talk shit about him because he is the face of boxing, but everybody else we ain't got to talk about.
No, we can talk about everybody.
Where's Benavidez step aside money at then?
So paying step aside money for a unification fight is holding up the division?
Yeah, exactly. and where Benavidez step aside money at, bro?
This is what I gotta say. Hold on. I just want to say this, right? At the end of the day, everybody, the boxing community is supposed to be in favor of boxing. Belts do matter. If Canelo wasn't holding up the belts, it wouldn't be an issue. I'm a Terrence Crawford fan, and I'm right there at the front of the line. Like, dog, you need to release those belts. If you're not gonna defend those belts, you need to release those belts. I don't pick a fighter over boxing. Boxing is always number one. That's what I'm always gonna fight for. And Canelo Alvarez is well in his right to do whatever he wants to do. But those 4 belts that he's holding and that he's waving around as though he's a champion, he's not acting as a champion. He's not defending those belts against his mandatories. It's out of pocket, and he needs to make a decision. If he's going to be a champion, the next fight is David Benavidez. If he doesn't want to do that anymore, Floyd Mayweather did it all the time. Got belts, vacated them inside of a week of after having the belts. He can do the same thing. Release those belts and let the division move forward for boxing. Let me see here. I mean, I don't know if the panel wants to continue moving on to this conversation.
Wait. I wanted to say one thing.
Go ahead, Ross Scott.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Let the lady go. Let the lady.
2 cents.
Hold on. I want to say something. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jose.
So after the Canelo and Jamel Charlo fight, what did Canelo say? Does anybody remember what he said?
We said after the go ahead. Who?
After the fight, after Canelo beat the younger Charlo, what did he say after the fight?
He said he's not scared of nobody.
He said nobody beat this version of me.
He said nobody. He said nobody can beat this Canelo.
Right.
He said nobody can beat this Canelo. So if nobody can beat this Canelo, let's get the Benavidez fight going. Stop fucking around, man. We want to see this.
I want to see it too.
We want to see the fight happen. Nobody wants to see him go to the zone and fight Jamie Munguia. Nobody wants to Nobody wants to go. Nobody wants to go. Wants him to go to the zone and fucking watch him beat up on fucking Edgar Berlanga, bro. He's a fucking bum. I don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that, bro. The fight that needs to happen is Canelo and Benavidez. Make this shit happen, bro. If you want 100 million, ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
Ask for it, bro.
I can't argue. I can't argue.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't argue it, bro. I really can't.
Bro, that's what we need, bro. As boxing fans, that's what we need, bro. Like air. That's what we need, bro. We need that. Other than that, bro, if you're not going, bro, because at this point, you talking about nobody could beat this Canelo, but you talking about bringing up a 160-pounder and Jamal Charlo to make the fight.
154.
No.
Jamal or Jamel?
Jamal. He fight at
Jamal was he already there, man. He missed weight. He missed 160.
Bro, we don't want to see that fight. We don't. I mean, and then you're talking about fighting all smaller guys. Bud, fucking Charlo, bro. Nobody want to see that, bro. I mean, Bud, I wouldn't maybe mind seeing that, but I want to see the Benavidez fight, bro. That's all I want to see.
We all do.
On top of you holding on to the belts, you're not even fighting people in the division.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
This the thing, man. I feel like one of the craziest things that people say is belts don't matter, because belts, they provide the inner workings of boxing. You know, that's part of the structure. And on the low, a lot of these, I think Canelo is a duck for sure, but I think the blame falls on the sanctioning bodies, man. These sanctioning bodies, low key in violation of the Muhammad Ali Act and everything. They like finding little loopholes to get around it, because you know the ranking system is because of the Muhammad Ali Act. We have the ranking system to make sure that all of the boxers have a chance to have a shot at the belts. You know, but they got these other belts where you don't have to fight your mandatories and stuff like that. But I think they're getting around it by still having a Reggie belt, is how people call it, or whatever, or the regular belt or whatever, and then still having these franchise and WBA supers and stuff like that, where they can get around having to fight their mandatories and stuff like that. And it's on the WBC, because they're supposed to mandate the fight, because if that man is in the mandatory position and he's been the person there for so long, and you know people are asking for that fight, but Canelo's dancing around it. He's moving up, and he's moving all around and not taking that fight.
Yeah, that
So
sounds
I
like
blame
Tank
the
Davis.
sanctioning body ultimately, man.
Right.
Yeah, that
And
sounds like
said that
like
earlier.
Tank Davis right there with the Reggie belt. Yeah, you're right.
Well, let me clarify that really quick. So I know I hate that name, Reggie Belt or whatever, WBA Super, WBA. The WBA system is only made because if you have more than one title, so you don't get held to a mandatory fight. If you have another mandatory in the same time frame, you don't lose your title like Lennox Lewis did. So what they did is they made the Super to do that, so the WBA does not hold you accountable. The Reggie Belt, the WBA at that time was not in coexistence with the Super Belt. That only came about when they tried to force, and listen to me carefully, they tried to enforce a fight with Tank and Loma. That's the reason why that became what it was. And as they did that, they tried to do that in other divisions. And then from there, we had ABC belt system. And that's when every other sanctioning body tried to repeat and duplicate. That's why we have this whole mess of the belt systems. I'm sorry to get off topic. I just wanted to state that because I really hate the whole thing. And once you see, as you've seen with Tank being the champion, he now is the WBA champion, which it should have been unless he unifies.
Hey guys, I gotta go, but thank you so much for keeping me in the show. I appreciate everybody, and I love everybody's thoughts here, man. Nothing but respect for this show. Hit them like buttons, hit the subscribe buttons. It's inevitable. D Block, D Town, D City, D Phil, Baltimore, stand up.
Salute.
Can I respond to him real quick? I know he left.
Yeah, I gotta hop off too, y'all, but I might come back.
All right.
Inshallah.
I wanted the response to him before he left, but I think I know that Canelo could do what he wants, but it doesn't justify the fact that he's ducking. It doesn't make it okay that he's ducking. I mean, it's so blatant that it's like, oh, I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna leave PBC and go somewhere else. No, if you guys make the Benavidez fight, I know for sure that this fight is gonna generate the money to pay these guys. I know for sure it will. And he knows it. Canelo knows it. If he's the face of boxing, supposedly, and he generates all this money, then why you gotta go? If you know that you're the face of boxing, that means you can generate the money. I think he just don't want to fight the dude. That's all it is. And not only that, I don't think he wants to lose to a Mexican.
Yeah,
he definitely don't want to lose.
Deal, man. I think it's a big deal for him, bro. And I agree, man.
Listen, that's
what would it say? What would it say about Canelo if he waits Benavidez out, so he is struggling to make the weight, and or he moves up and has a fight or two, and then Canelo's like, oh, I'll fight you, and then bring him back down? Because I honestly think that may be what he's planning to do, because he said, I don't plan on fighting him in 2024.
Yeah,
that's possible. That's possible, but I don't think Benavidez, once he move up to 175, going down to 168 is going to be a wrap unless he's taking diuretic.
That might be his play there.
David Benavidez Sr. did an interview today on Mill City. Shout out to Mill City Boxing. You know, support his channel like crazy. You guys go subscribe if you're not. I don't know why you wouldn't be if you aren't already. But he had an interview today with Benavidez Sr. And Benavidez Sr. just basically said, listen, man, they're willing to stay at 168. If they thought the fight was going to happen even in September, if they thought the fight would happen in September, they would have hung back. But at the end of the day, once they go up to 175, if they're able to get titles up there and get opportunities up there, it's going to change the whole entire trajectory of the negotiations. I don't think they have any plans of coming back to 168 once they get up there. They're not. And they're doing the right thing. They're basically saying we're no longer holding up our careers for Canelo Alvarez, and nor are we adjusting or doing things that are uncomfortable anymore. He hasn't shown any intention on fighting us. It's insulting, you know.
Right? Can I segue over to something else?
That's what I was gonna say. Do we want to switch it? Does anybody else want to drop anything on this Canelo Alvarez subject? Or are you guys ready to go to the next topic?
Yeah, I'm done. Canelo's a bum. I'm done.
Hey, I have no arguments on none of these things.
Let me close it out with this Mind of Manson Musa. Just read this because it was a Canelo thing. So he says Canelo ducked both Charlos in their prime at the same weight, plus Boo Boo and Benavidez. Now again, Benavidez plus Morrell. Where the Bivol rematch, huh? Fight the winner of Artur and Bivol then. Yeah, man. He's screaming on Canelo as well. And look, you know, there was a question that actually came up the other night about Canelo. I think it was Mill who asked the question. He says, I don't know if it was Mill. It might have been Mill. But basically, no, it was on Lady Shan. Shout out to Lady Shan's channel as well. The question was, if he doesn't fight Benavidez, does this do away with Canelo's legacy? Like, does this hurt Canelo's legacy to not fight David Benavidez? And I gotta be honest with you guys. Without a doubt, it's going to put an asterisk in his legacy. But I definitely think Canelo's in a space right now where he's done so much, and he's been, you know, as the face of boxing, he's done so much over the years, and that's the reason why he's not taking this fight as well. Is that he'll take that asterisk, his legacy will still stay intact, and he's still going to go down in history as the face of boxing of this era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I agree, Clay. I was just gonna say I agree. It's just like the whole Floyd Mayweather thing. Some people still think he's TBE. He didn't fight his mandatory. Kilbrook, he didn't fight his mandatory at one time was Keith Thurman, but he still solidified his legacy, and it's not tarnished at all. I don't think Benavidez's legacy will be tarnished at all, in my opinion.
Right. And now let's segue into something that's very similar. We can do it for a short period. Clay, do you or the panel, do you guys think and believe? What's up, Boxing Kangaroo? Salute.
Boxing Kangaroo.
Do you think the same thing that Benavidez is doing that our boy Boots should do? Because I'm seeing no work for him at 147. I think it's a waste of his time at the moment. I think he can move up and still become a 3-division champ. 154 have more opportunities for him. 160 have more opportunities for him. 168 will be where he could probably cap his career, if not at light heavyweight. And he can dominate all these divisions if he's, you know what I mean, as he's promised in our eyes, as we see with our own eyes, you know what I mean, that he can turn around and be that guy moving all the way up. And I think that he'll have a better chance of unifying and or even undisputed at 154 as opposed to 147 because, one, he's not going to get the fights there. You see how hard it is to make fights now. I mean, I'd rather see Boots go up. Staniosis would be a good fight, but Staniosis already said he didn't want to fight him. Nobody wants to fight him there. No one's going to come up from 140. 147 is actually looking like a graveyard right now. I know people don't think so, but if you think of all the action where all the fights are, it's 140, 154 currently, and 168. Even 135 is like, thank God they got some young guys coming in because 135 will actually be just the same. But they got the young guys moving up, and they got some young guys that are prospects that are really making some noise. So that's actually saving that division.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that too.
I think if Boots stays at 47, because I mean he has a goal. His goal is to be undisputed at 47, but I don't think he will ever get the quote unquote respect he deserves because it'll always be, well, who did you fight? Kind of like how they do Crawford with the 140 undisputed. Like, who did you fight? There was really nobody or no big names in that division for you to get the undisputed. But I mean, that's not his fault.
It's not. But at 147, you said that he wants to do something. But is he going to take too long staying there just to build his career to chase belts? Remember, 2 Cents, if someone comes up from 140 and they grab one of those titles, they don't have to fight Boots. They don't have to unify. They can just dance around him. So he'll be sitting there waiting for this title forever until that person moves up and drops it or they retire. I mean, it'll be that bad. And he doesn't have. There's no mandatory for unification. That's an issue. So I would like to see him go to 154, where I think he has more challenges and opponents waiting for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that the main thing, and Ray hit on it, and I'm just gonna expand on it just to say that he needs to be in a division where there's a willingness to, and he has people who want to be undisputed like he does, people who are interested in unifying belts, fighting champions, doing things of that nature. Unfortunately, the way the sanctioning bodies work is once somebody gets a title, they no longer have to unify or become a mandatory to another champion. So I think it's clear, or at least reasonable to say that the 147-pound division has shown that they have no interest in unifying those belts as long as Boots is there, right? Because they don't want to fight Boots. It's clear they don't want to fight Boots. And
Exactly.
I've said it before. Inactivity kills these fighters, man. It murders their momentum. You need to be able to build momentum in boxing. You need to know what your next fight is going to be. You need to be working towards something. And Boots right now, even when you see him in the gym, God bless him and what's going over there at Boise Ennis. Thank God he has like Andy Cruz in there and other people in there to kind of inspire him. But it almost looks like the man has nothing to do when he's in the gym because he doesn't even know who he's fighting next. He's supposed to be fighting on this Canelo undercard. They're trying to get it to be Cody Crowley, but it's already word out there that Cody Crowley's going to pull out due to some eye injury that he's saying he has. But ultimately, it's already nonsense. He's already been rejected by 3 fighters. 3 fights have been canceled under Boots Ennis since he's held that IBF title, and now it's going to be a 4th one. And who's he going to fight then? I'll give him the credit to say that Mario Barrios is a dog. He probably would fight Boots, but I mean, how much? That'll be 1 fight he's had in who knows how long. I don't think it's foreign at all for him to take in consideration to move up to 154 and see if he can make something happen out there, because Boots happens to be one of those fighters who respects titles. He wants to be undisputed. He believes in belts. He wants them. He doesn't want to just fight for money. I'm sure he wants money, but the man wants belts. And if he wants belts and he wants to become undisputed, 154 has to be a legitimate option for him at this point.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, like for me, I like the idea of Boots just, you know what, I'm just gonna stay at 147 and fight everybody that they put in front of me, because I think him going up to 154, in all honesty, he's gonna get ducked up there too. What natural 154 want to get risk losing to this natural welterweight? A lot of them gonna be ducking them. And like the Mario Barrios, on paper, what a good fight. But once Boots beat him, and he will beat him, what they gonna say? He's fighting another bum. Barrios is too small or whatever. It's unfortunate that Boots is in the situation he's in, that where the 147-pound division isn't what it was with the Porters and the Garcias and all of them. He's there where the talent is not there right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he should bounce. I think that people like Tim Tszyu, like Boxing Kangaroo just said, I think there are people in there who are interested in finding out if they're great or not. I think
Tim will do it.
There.
Tim will
You know what? You know what Tim Tszyu said when they asked about Boots? He said, "I'll be moving to 160 soon."
I gotta find that recording for me. I'm not playing you.
That's so discouraging to hear that.
Yeah, I've never heard that, but if you said that, that's sad.
Damn you, 2 Cents. Damn you.
Yeah, you find everything.
Fight hype interview. If I could find it, Ray, I'll get it for you. And I was like, really?
You know, I like stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm like, really, Tim?
Let me tell you, man, what the game plan that I see for Boots is go ahead and get that IBF title at 154. You're the IBF champion at 147. Go up there, issue a challenge to be one of those guys who fights for that vacant belt. Get that IBF belt. Go at Tim Tszyu. Hopefully he doesn't run to 160 like you said, and he can get a unification fight. And then after that, he'll be a unified champion at least at super welterweight, and hopefully be able to chase down a Fundora. I think he can get a fight with Fundora. And well, whoever wins between Fundora, I think it's gonna be Fundora.
And the IBF is vacant at 154 too.
It's vacant, exactly. So if he puts a bid in to fight for that vacant belt, I don't know, man. All I know is they need to be strategizing and figuring something out, because unfortunately for Boots, he's probably the pound for pound best fighter in between 135 and 154. It's probably him. He's probably that guy. Nobody knows it yet, because some people might want to say it's Devin, but I don't agree with that. I think I would go with Boots. Nobody wants to fight him, man.
No.
Clay,
it's unfortunate.
I can give
Clay,
it.
so
Go ahead.
do you think that Bud is saying there's the fight with Boots does nothing for him? Do you think he's saying that because he know that fighting Boots is like it's a possibility that he could lose that fight?
Yes.
I don't think it's about him losing. I think it's about the work that he needs to put in to get ready for the fight. I think Bud is in a place where he's like, dog, I'm really done in real life. You know what I'm saying? You ever been just done with something where it's like, you ever been like, I don't know if you remember when you're younger, when you get to a point where it's like, I'm not fighting no more, bro. Like, I don't care what you think. If you come close to me, I'm going to do something dirty. You can get poked up, you can get shot. I'm just done with this part of my life, bro. I'm moving on to the next part of my life. And this dude Boots is nice enough to where I'm going to have to diet hard. I'm going to have to train hard. I'm going to have to watch what I eat. I'm going to have to do things that you guys might not understand that I don't like doing. Like, I like fighting. You hear a lot of boxers say that. I love fighting. I love fight night. But that 3 months before fight night, I hate that shit. I can't fuck with my girl the way I want to fuck with my girl. I got to leave my family and go train in somewhere else. I got to do all this stuff. Give me a fighter where I can train in Arkansas, play with my kids every day, get a big bag, whoop their ass, and go home. If I haven't convinced you at this point I am who I am, I'm never going to convince you. I don't care. Shout out to Boots. Hope everything works for you. God bless you and your family. Me and you are not fighting.
So
I think that's,
you know what? I feel like that would be okay if they just said that. Like when they asked Sean Porter about Boots, he's like, oh no, I'm not fighting that guy. He's young, he's hungry, he's this, he's that. But they're not saying that. They're coming up with so many different contradictory statements. And that's really the issue I have with that. Like, if you're not going to fight him, just say you're not going to fight him. He's young, I'm past that, whatever. But don't say, oh, he shouldn't have took the IBF belt. Or, oh, I was going to fight him before. Because to me, if he had 2 opportunities to fight you, then why wouldn't you still fight him? What's the difference now? Like, that's what I'm not understanding about the whole.
It's kind of hard.
Not fighting.
In those situations, it's kind of hard reliving those moments, especially when you had two opportunities on the table. Yeah, I think he should have took the fight instead of even Evanesian. I think he should have took that fight with Boots first. But obviously, you know, it is what it is. I can't relive that no more. That's in the past for me. I think we're past it. We already know Bud's not fighting him. I just think Boots' challenges are ahead of him at staying at 154. I really wish him the best, because if the belts spread out, he's going to be in a situation like Shakur, where Shakur is chasing these belts right now. He's mad he can't get the fights, and I don't want to see that for him, because it's going to take him longer in that division. He's going to outgrow the division. Yes, he makes weight pretty well, but he's going to outgrow it, and it's going to get tough for him to make that weight at being an IBF champion. We don't want to see that.
I think Shakur's biggest problem, not to cut you off, I think Shakur's biggest problem, honestly, is Bob. I think it's Bob and the business that Bob does. I think people would be willing to fight Shakur, but I think it's Bob.
I'm going to tell you.
How is it Bob? How is it Bob?
Shakur,
because he lowballs the fighters. You get what I'm saying? He doesn't do. And I don't know, maybe if the communication is getting misconstrued between Bob and whatever's going on, and it makes it.
So 2 cents, in my opinion,
him, but I don't think that's what the case is.
I think that last fight Shakur had, he had what's the name on his card, right? He's the WBO. He had him on his card, and I think there was talks about him fighting Navarrete for the WBO. And then what did Shakur do right after that fight? Tell everybody that he's like basically kicking Top Rank's back in. Oh, I'm gonna go search around this and this. I don't need this. I'm gonna do that. Why does Bob want to lose more titles from his network or from his promotional company? Bob likes the belts. He wants those belts there. He offers Shakur a chance to sign back so he can get him these fights. Yep. I knew he was going to try to dangle Loma, but now he's going to force that fight with Loma and Navarrete, so that person has 3 titles. And guess what? Now you're going to have to unify and stay here anyway, because we're going to dangle this in your face. That's a bad move. Shakur had the option, and I know people don't like to hear it. He had the option with the contract with Devin Haney for 25%. I don't care. I don't care if it was 3.5, 3.7, 3.8, 25%. I don't care what the money was. You told the world prior to that offer that you wanted Devin for the belts. That was out of your mouth. That was what you said. I don't care what anybody thinks or anybody says. That man said that out of his mouth. He said, when I want the bag, I'm going to go fight Tank. That's going to be the biggest fight. That's exactly what happened. That's what was said. There's nothing to take from it. Now, all of a sudden, he didn't want to fight for that bag. He wanted to make it, exactly, legacy over the dollar. That's what he said. He loves gold. I'm pretty sure he said that. But, you know, it is what it is. Things change. People can change their mind. They do what they want at the end of the day.
Yep. And then after that last performance, Shakur is very beatable. To me, he looked like straight trash, and he knew Haney was going to whoop that ass if they fought.
Yeah. Shakur made a mistake, man, and I'll be one to eat my humble pie, my crow, because I was one who was actually co-signing Shakur's moves. I was like, yo, bro, you know what I mean? You trying to price him out? He trying to get his money. And I'll be honest with you, you know, in boxing, I've learned lessons on my journey, right? Like when Roy Jones got knocked out by Antonio Tarver, my heart broke in half. And I said, from that day on, I'm no longer going to be that much of a fanboy of a fighter to where I'm feeling the way I felt that night. Because as far as I'm concerned, my brother or family member or my ass got knocked out that night. I was literally emotionally disturbed with that knockout. It hurt me, right? And then with the Shakur situation, I think I got into the pockets a little bit, man. And I started trying to regulate that man's pockets and like, yo, he deserves more money. But no, the reality is that wasn't a money fight for him. That was a legacy fight, and he should have had legacy rules and a legacy approach to how he looked at that opportunity. And I think he looked at money at the wrong time in his career, because when you look back at it with the way he performed with De Los Santos, it was almost like the boxing gods punished him, bro. It was a horrible performance, and he's damn near had to start all over again. And I agree with you also, Ray. At the end of the day, you're doing these interviews on Cigar Talk and all these different channels, and you're talking about how you're entertaining all offers and anything, and you're not loyal to nobody. You love Bob, but not like that, blah, 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 blah. Well, Bob Arum is not a dumbass. He's been in this business over 50 years. That man's not going to sit there and give you opportunities knowing that you're looking like you're on your way out the door. It just was a bad alignment. The stars didn't align for Shakur between rejecting that fight, which would have gave him the leverage to actually negotiate with Bob Arum, something that made sense. And also between those interviews and his Twitter fingers, he really put himself in a bad position where Bob's like, okay, well, you fucked up with De Los Santos. You look like you sucked that night. Now what? We're going to play the weight game. Or you want to retire? Fine. Come out. When you come out of retirement, we'll be right here with the contract asking you what you want to do with it. And that's what he did. He came out and he took $15 million for 5 fights.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Anytime Shakur now for the rest of his career, you put anyone in there that has a puncher's chance, any type of punching power, I guarantee you're going to see a performance just like that.
Well, he said he's the new core now. I don't know if you've seen him. I forgot what Power Core or King Core or something he put out in there in the tweets. So he said he's changing his fighting tactics. I guess he's going to be a more forward fighter, forward fighter.
We'll see about that. He should have signed the deal for the dream Devin Haney, became undisputed, and he would have been the man, and he would have been running shit, and he could have called out. He could have got anything he wanted, but
you could have got a fight with Tank. That would have been something.
Exactly.
If he was going to beat Tank, if he was going to beat Tank,
well, he's probably going to lose against Tank. What he was going to do is get the money.
Haney. If he beat Haney.
Yeah, we're saying at the opportunity, like he could have the opportunity to beat Haney, and also expand from there. Also, just be part of an exciting fight and probably become. I think it just would have been more positive than negative him fighting Haney. No matter what, win or loss, it would have been positive.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question. I want to jump. I had some topics I want to get into. I know it's a long night, but I don't want to let you guys go before I get these topics. I definitely want to talk about Abdullah Mason and Floyd Schofield right now a little bit. You know what I mean? It's prospect talk. I know it's not the top conversation on everybody's list, but, you know, the prospects are our future in boxing, and the future in boxing is looking bright. There's a lot of talent down there. And right now, it looks like Shakur Stevenson is pretty much giving Floyd Schofield his approval if he's able to get through either Abdullah Mason or William Zepeda, because I also saw Floyd Schofield Sr. say that they had a conversation with Shakur Stevens where he said if they got through William Zepeda, that he given him opportunity. But Shakur Stevens himself said that there was an opportunity there for him if he was able to get through the gatekeeper, Abdullah Mason. What do you think about that fight?
Sounds like
Any
a lot
opinions?
of yeah. You guys, you go ahead first, Jose.
I mean, I would like to see that Abdullah Mason and Floyd Schofield. I would like to see that. I think that'd be, be a chess match between them two. They young, they both athletic as hell, fast. I mean, I would like to see that for sure.
Right. I think that would be a great fight. I just question as to whether or not it's too early or not, because those fights are potential great contender fights, right? Like I always imagine like Abdullah Mason fighting Emiliano Vargas in a point where they both had a title, or you know what I mean, they were just contending for something big. As far as Floyd Schofield and Abdullah Mason, I feel Floyd Schofield is ranked right now in the sanctioning bodies. If he could get a fight with a William Zepeda, I don't know if that's not the fight he should take. I think Abdullah Mason is way more risk than reward, because Abdullah's in his prospect, you know what I mean, in his prospect part of his career. And it seems like Floyd Schofield may be a contender right now. If not, his next fight, he'll be a contender. So it'll be going backwards for Floyd Schofield, in my opinion. But I think it would be a great fight regardless. I think that would be a great fight. 50-50 in my opinion. I think either one can take it depending on who shows up that night and how they show up. Go ahead, Ray. You want to say something about it?
No, you go finish if you want to.
I'm
okay.
Pretty much. I
think this is a true parody. I'm sorry. I'm trying to cover the mic so I can get better sound. I don't know if it works. I think it's a true parody of when styles make fights here. We got a nice, strong, fast, quick puncher. And then we have a nice, fast, powerful boxer. What does that sound like? That sounds like a great style meeting in the middle of the ring. One guy likes to come forward, one guy likes to stand there and box, and he likes to move and knows how to move. What do we see? We can use plenty of analogies and styles for these fights to try to sum it up in our opinions. But I just think it's like who wins is very tough to call. Like you said, 50-50. I could see how Floyd can win, and I could see how Abdullah can win. I think if it goes into the later rounds, I think Abdullah can actually outbox him and then clip him with the power, because he does have power. But then if we start off, and Abdullah sits there and he comes in and he gets in the way, and as fast as Floyd is, Kid Austin can knock him out. You know what I mean? So it's so many variables in that fight. I just don't know why Shakur threw it out there. And now this is my point, having Abdullah Mason call out Kid Austin. I'm telling you, it's a distraction to get him off that card, because if he beats William Zepeda, that puts him in line. So Shakur knows what he's doing. Now, I'm not telling you that he's doing it because he's afraid. He just knows that this guy's hungry. And this guy's been calling him out since 135. It's 130. I'm sorry, 130. And this is something that he's been wanting for a long time. So I would like to see how it goes.
Go ahead.
I think Shakur should just rematch Edwin De Los Santos.
Yeah.
I think he should rematch him, dust him off,
and That's a good point.
And then everybody would be back on his, back on his shit again. Like, yo, Shakur did his thing. Like, everybody wants to see, nobody wanted to see that fight, bro. He looked shit. I'm not making an excuse for him, but his hand was fucked up. He said he was sick, so So, that shit all plays a part, you know what I'm saying? So, I would like to see the rematch,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I would too, actually. So he could prove that he's not afraid.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'd like to see him rematch him too, for sure. Yep.
Yeah. I think he needs to do that, but I do understand that. Look, Shakur just signed a deal for $15 million. That's $3 million per fight. That's for 5 fights. It's official. I'm pretty sure. I hope I'm not wrong. I feel like that's what I heard that it was done.
Sure.
Let's just say he did, for argument's sake. Now, I don't know. I don't want to put my word on it, because I know I got trolls out there that would just love for me to go out there and push some false narrative. And right, so at the end of the day, if that is the case, that he signed a deal for $15 million for 5 fights, that means he knows how much he's getting paid. If I was Shakur, I'd be looking to fight, get him out the way, and I'd be looking not to fight my big fights. I wouldn't be looking to fight Tank. I wouldn't be looking to fight Frank Martin, because I'm just gonna get lowballed. You know what I'm saying? Because I signed a deal for as much money. So I try to get all my fights out the way so that I can get into some big fights. So Floyd Schofield is definitely on the menu. He can definitely get it. William Zepeda can definitely get it. The winner between Navarrete and I can't remember who he's fighting against, the Ukrainian guy. He can get it. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe maybe by that time, maybe Frank Martin will get himself a belt, or maybe, you know, I would try to not have to fight somebody for my big payday under that contract.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Just keep fighting Mexicans, right? So you can't fight them.
I'd be fighting rapid fire. I'd just be trying to get through the 5. That's what I'd be looking at, like I'm trying to knock this 5 out as soon as I can before Tank mess around and call me out. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn it.
I don't see Abdullah Mason and Kid Austin fighting anytime soon, though. They're just 2 prospects still, and I don't think these guys don't make prospects fight each other anymore in this era. Too much.
The good thing about that fight is, if either one of them get a loss, it's an easy bounce back too. I mean, we forget about how boxing works. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I'm saying. I would love to see it, but I don't think it'll happen.
Got to solidify protecting the old nonsense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope with this different change in landscape in boxing, we will see more prospects fighting each other. And hopefully, the whole, you know, with the whole, oh, you lose a fight, you're nobody, like that has to go away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, Floyd did that. Floyd fucked the game up with that shit.
Yeah. Floyd didn't fuck it up, but he did. He did because he did. I'm not gonna even make it. He fucked it up.
The generation before that, all the old school fighters in the 80s, they all fought each other. They all got lost. They all was great fighters. They all had great fights. They came together. They was all dogs. Like, bro, they got legendary fights, bro. And that's what needs to happen today. That's what we're lacking, bro. Like, you know, you got Canelo want to fight Berlanga and Jamie Munguia and fucking and Jamal Charlo. Like, bro, nobody want to see
John
that.
Ryder.
Yeah, right. Because it's like, if how great are you if you don't have any losses? Like, that's how I feel about it. I don't feel like if you don't have no losses, that means you was great. Not in boxing.
No.
So you hear what I'm saying?
I even heard rumors. I heard rumors of Canelo Alvarez potentially was entertaining fighting Caleb Plant again. I heard rumors of that.
Yes.
You heard about that? I was like, if you don't stop right the heck now.
Hey, do y'all know? Do y'all know that Abdullah Mason is same measurements, damn near like Crawford?
No, I didn't know, but it doesn't shock me though. But
he's actually a few inches. I mean, like an inch or two taller. But with that reach, and if he keeps getting better, Kid Austin probably won't be able to beat him by the time they peak.
This is why I said they need.
That's another thing. Catch him early. Abdullah Mason is definitely one of those get him early fighters if you can. Okay, now I want to segue because we're pretty much gonna be closing it up soon. Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz is not being spoken about in a proper way. We gotta put some respect on his name.
He nice.
That man did a great job the other night. He's 3-0. He's already in contender conversations. They're trying to get him title fights by the end of the year or early next year. What do you guys think about this prospect? Because he is a prospect, unfortunately.
Andy
I know
Cruz
some people want to say.
I like Andy Cruz. He's actually one of my favorite prospects. They have to fast track him. Isn't he like 26 or something like that?
Yeah, he's a phenomenal.
He's a grown ass man. He definitely a grown ass man for sure.
They need to hurry up and fast track him because he really don't have the time.
Right? He just don't got no power. He more like that pity pat.
I think he's just a show off because he just has a competition. I don't think we really got to see his power. I think he's just having fun in the ring, which
he definitely passed the eye test.
Yeah, he's one of those fighters that got to fight like 4 times a year.
Right. He's just having fun. And but he's definitely a phenomenal. Like he's definitely like beyond what I think.
He's fun to watch. I can say that. He's fun to watch so far.
Correct.
Well, what do y'all think about Ben Whitaker?
Okay.
I think Ben Whitaker has he's an interesting fighter, right? He's an interesting fighter. He's pulling from the a little bit of the Pernell Whitaker, but more so what's his name again?
Prince Naseem.
Drunken Master.
Yeah, Prince Naseem, right.
He get more Drunken Master.
Right, Drunken Master.
I hope not. Drunken Master was overrated.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Hey,
he almost beat Floyd, though.
Bringing up Drunken Master.
Yeah, that makes Floyd look bad.
No, it does. The Drunken Master was not overrated. Even Floyd said himself.
Yeah,
he got robbed a lot, and I believe that's true.
32 times he got robbed. 32 times.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Listen,
no,
Drunken
not
Master,
all 32, but I'm just saying.
What I'm gonna say is that style of fighting is entertaining to watch.
Yes, it is.
It's entertaining to watch, but am I supposed to take him seriously as far as being a contender and being one of the best out there? He hasn't shown me that. That style hasn't shown me that. I'm not saying that he can't.
He's a silver medalist, so he obviously can fight.
Yeah.
No, I think he can fight, he is. Well, listen, he could definitely fight, but that's an athletic style. Athleticism goes. I want to see him box as well.
But also, he's also at 175, so they're not moving like that up there.
They're not, but they not. Listen, bro, I don't know if that style works with David Benavidez. I don't know if that style works with Better BF or with Bivol.
No,
I don't know
he would get knocked out.
Yes, playing like that. You know what I'm saying?
Anthony Yardy would probably hurt him.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody with discipline who's not feeding into that with power gonna catch him slipping. You know who used to do that a lot? Not to leave boxing, but Anderson Silva used to do that. You know what I mean? He used to play around like that, and he ended up getting clipped by some white dude who nobody thought was a wrestler, and he just stayed basic. He 1-2, 1-2. He double pumped on the jab, and he caught him with a right, and he put him to sleep. Crazy looking. He never recovered from it. So I just need to see more. That's all. I think he's an interesting character, though. I think he's an interesting character and interesting boxing to watch. But as far as is he going to be a factor in this space, I'm not ready to say that I value him like that yet. I'm not ready to do that yet.
Yeah, because once he faces a fighter that got good timing, he's going to get hurt.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We'll see, though. Time will tell the story. We definitely got an eye on him for sure, though.
Right.
Yeah.
There's one more fight that just got put out there. The cruiserweight Riyad Mary versus versus Jared Anderson.
Yeah, that fight's going. Jared's just going to knock that dude out.
He's moving up. I don't know, man. He was a champion. He's moving up.
I seen the guy's highlights. He's going to get knocked out.
All right. Well, hey,
it's not even an interesting fight. I ain't going to lie to you.
Well, we know Bob. We do know what Bob is doing. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, Clay, but you know what? At the end of the day, we got to look at what fighting really is. It's a fight. And you got a guy, that held the belt. So I mean, he's in a division that he's moving up. You never know. The weight can help him. You never know.
Y'all think that the Pedraza fight kind of stamped Keyshawn?
Yes.
Or you think so?
That fight did him justice. I don't care about Pedraza's history, about him being at the end of his game. None of that. That fight was a fight that did justice for Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis is part of the conversation now. Because of that fight, Keyshawn Davis is in the conversation of fighting Teofimo. Because of that fight, everybody wants a piece of Keyshawn. He's on his way to stardom. He's one of the top ranked best stars right now in the game. And because of that fight.
Yeah, they want him more than they want Frank Martin.
Right.
Yeah. When you think about his last fight before that against Nahir Albright, whatever his name was, he was kind of hurt from that fight. Like that fight was like, oh, Keyshawn, man, you didn't really have a fight like we expect you to have. That was a huge comeback to come back from being suspended from smoking weed, almost missing his opportunity to fight Pedraza because they took it away from him, suspended him. He got a second chance, and I think he capitalized on every moment that fight had to offer him. He capitalized.
Let me give you my take on this. One, you had a 140-pounder that came down, and it looked like he was a little weight drained because he did look like he had the ability early, but he gassed out. Number two, once Keyshawn got going, he didn't stop. The problem I seen was he should have displayed some boxing ability. I think what Keyshawn did is he actually put a lot of his he just put a lot of like sloppy, like, let me just beat this dude up type attitude instead of just displaying some boxing. I would have liked to see what his toolbox really looks like. He had an opportunity to do so. He had Pedraza beat, but he just looked like he just wanted to brawl him and just get him out of there, which is not a problem either, but not in that fashion. You're fighting a guy that was just punching with you. You know what I mean? So it wasn't super impressive, but it was impressive. In other words,
Yeah.
I mean, just to kind of push back a little bit to say that don't play with your food.
Right.
Keyshawn knew what the opportunity was and what he wanted to show the world. He probably already knew that he wanted to go ahead and fight. He probably already knew that he wanted to show the world that he wanted to fight Teofimo. He already had that in the back of his mind. And not only Teofimo, but also looking at getting at title fights and changing the whole trajectory of his career. He knew what that night was about. He saw the openings. I thought, yes, he did kind of brawl him a little bit, but he brawled him in a safe way. He was accurate with his shots. He just showed the world that if you ain't supposed to be in here with me, I'm not going to let you live. You know what I'm saying? If you're not supposed to be in here with me, I'm not going to let you live. I'm not going to play with you. I'm not going to show boxing tonight if I don't have to. I'm going to knock you the fuck out is what I'm going to do if I'm supposed to.
Okay.
Yep. And it looks like Keyshawn made a statement, because guess what? Teofimo Lopez was like, nope, not fighting him. He didn't do this. He didn't do that yet. So there you go.
There you go. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt, guys. Look, man, this was a great show, by the way. I want to thank the panel. Let me tell you something, bro. I'm going to say this at the end of each one of my shows because y'all just bring it out of me, bro. I got to acknowledge it and I got to call it out, bro. This is what the future of panels look like. This is what the future of boxing talk looks like. We're going to be talking about boxing here. We talked about multiple fighters tonight. We talked about the PBC. We talked about Devin Haney and Ryan. We talked about Andy Ruiz. We talked about Abdullah Mason. We talked about Floyd Schofield. We talked about Canelo Alvarez. And we would have talked about a lot more because that's how these panels are got to look from my perspective. And there was
without name slander too. Without name slander.
100%. No slandering. People weren't arguing with each other in an unhealthy way. Nothing but respect. We had the Queen 2 Cents up in here, and that I'm very proud whenever I see 2 Cents in the building because I know the levels of conversation that she can go on, and sometimes I feel like, you know what I mean, the opportunity for her to really expand and show that she's all over the place in boxing. She's just not about Devin and Tank and PBC. She's all over the place.
Right.
We didn't even talk about women boxing tonight because I already know she's in.
Oh, yeah, that's next.
I already know.
And
we could definitely tap into that as well.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about Clarissa Shield.
Y'all seen Clarissa with the PFL? Listen,
I know.
I think what Clarissa Shields is doing is amazing. Like, to learn a combat sport at the professional level, I feel like it's unheard of.
Yeah, those blue tights was amazing.
Yeah, she was looking something crazy. She was looking something crazy.
Yeah, I ain't want to go there, y'all.
Excuse me, 2 Cents. Excuse me.
But, sorry, because nobody says the same thing. Never mind. Let me not go there.
I agree with you. Clarissa Shield is doing great things. 2 Cents. I don't like the way she's approaching this Keith Thurman situation. I think she should calm down with that. But as far as, you know, going into other sports like MMA and being competitive, winning, and actually, you know, it takes a lot of work and a lot of discipline and a lot of effort to do that. And she doesn't have to, and she does, man. And she needs to be recognized for that. She's also a 2-weight class undisputed champion. People don't say it enough and don't give her accolades for that accomplishment.
In
she
14
did it before
fights.
Right. People don't give her they don't say it enough. They don't talk about her enough in the right way.
Let me ask one more question, Clay. So, do you think her and Alicia Bargardner had a sparring match or something where Alicia got the best of her? Because it seems like she just don't want that fight at all.
That fight makes no sense. They're 30. It's a 20-30 pound weight difference. Alicia Baumgartner is nowhere near skilled enough to beat Clarissa Shields.
I don't know about that.
She's just too small. She's just too small.
I get that. You may say, I think Alicia's walking around 150, 147. That's why she wants that fight there. She doesn't have to do much to lose weight. I think it actually makes for a great fight because she's the only boxer I see that even, with a skill set that can probably present a problem.
She barely beat Michaela Mayer.
Nah, she won't be able to beat Clarissa.
Okay.
No,
I think at the end of the day, Clarissa Shields doesn't need to come all the way down to 147. By the way, Elisa Baumgartner said that Clarissa Shields was fighting at 147 MMA. That girl fought at like 165 pounds.
She fought at 165. She can't make 147.
She can't make 147, bro.
She's
gonna make it. And by the way,
that means Clarissa's walking around like 185, 180.
Yeah,
listen, there's rumors.
Listen,
there was rumors that fight was supposed to be at 155 that Clarissa was in. There was rumors. That's why I heard that last minute it was changed and allowed to be at 165 because she didn't cut enough weight to make it down to 155 and help.
Let's move on from that conversation.
Yeah, 147 is just not realistic for her. The only way that fight happens is if as I would say 154 would be the lowest that could happen at. And I think at 154, Alicia Baumgartner would just be giving up.
I think she's going to drop those belts at 154.
And Clarissa even said herself she's not going to go down to even 154. Still too much. Right. It's not enough.
Exactly.
Too much weight.
Yeah. She's
it's just not realistic. But shout out to Alicia Baumgartner. Hey girl, you passed your PED test, and turns out you got yourself out of your situation. You know how we feel about you, girl. You know what I'm saying? So
them jaws tell me she was still on it.
Listen,
hey man, it is what it is, man.
Hey,
shout out to the
Toronto to jump up and wait in
boxing space doing the work. But no, Lisa, Clarissa ain't where you at. But I'll tell you what, Amanda Serrano is waiting on you. That's a great fight waiting to happen. We all ready to see you fight Amanda Serrano and make history. All right.
Absolutely. Alicia Bump. It looked like she be gassing out though.
Yeah, Serrano gonna beat her.
She got a lot of muscles, man. Muscles don't help in boxing, bro. In combat sports, muscles take a lot of oxygen, a lot of blood flow, to maintain. Man, she's really too cut. She probably needs I'm not shocked out. She probably is going to tire. All them diesel cut up dudes be going out like that, except for 154 and down. It is what it is, guys. I'm gonna go around the room and let you guys make your last image. I just wanted to let you guys know I appreciate you guys coming in the room. I think this is such great boxing talk that we do. When we do it, for me, I just love every minute of it. So thank you guys for coming up here and always showing up for the panel, man. Go ahead, Ross Scott. Go ahead.
I just want to say, man, thanks for having me on. And as far as the whole PBC situation, we gotta have these fights. These fighters got to fight. It's like back in the days, right? After Mark Breland won one of his matches, Lloyd Hunnigan jumped in the ring and challenged him. So what's up? Let's get it cracking. Let's fight. You know what? The fight was signed a week and a half later, and guess what? They fought, and Breland knocked his ass out. That's the type of shit that we need to see now. We can't be seeing no T.O. saying, "Oh, he didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing." If Breland would have did that back then, we wouldn't have never seen a beautiful stoppage like we did. So let's bring back boxing and have these dudes fight. Salute.
Salute, Ross Scott. Salute. Go ahead, Jose.
No, man, I love this platform, man. It's dope. Ever since I got put on by my boy Ray, man, I've been locked in, man. This
Jersey in the building.
You already know, baby.
Show, man. Appreciate you, Jose, man. Appreciate you being here, man. You add a lot, you contribute a lot to the space, the content. You contribute a lot to it, bro. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. This is definitely a dope platform, and you know what I mean. I'm definitely gonna be locked and loaded as much as I can. You feel me?
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you in advance, and thank you.
Bring people in, especially Rich. He might be inebriated by the time you get in here.
Yeah, crazy, man.
Bring your BYOB for sure.
Yeah.
2 cents. Anything? Any last minutes? Say something nice about me. 2 cents.
Thank you for letting me come up on your platform. I really appreciate it. I like this platform, just straight boxing talk. I mean, different platforms got different styles. I appreciate them all, but I really enjoy coming up here and talking, and then you guys being reasonable about my perspectives, because that's kind of hard to find sometimes. Kind of just thinking it through, like, oh, okay, I can see what you're saying, because like I say all the time, which is why I named my channel 2 cents. It's all subjective, right? None of us really know exactly what the hell is going on. Basically, what we're saying is all opinion based in the first place. So it's just good to come and just have somebody just dialogue and go back and forth about the different perspectives that I have about what's going on.
Can I add to that 2 cents?
Sure.
I just want to say thank you because you always give me something new to think about every time you come up. You drop something and it's a gem every time. So I appreciate it, Queen.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
No doubt, man. Appreciate all you guys, man. Thank you. Boxing first. We got to bring boxing back, and the only way we do that is by holding the fighters, holding these sanctioning bodies, holding everybody involved in the process of giving us the fights we want to see accountable. Nobody's above the law when it comes to the boxing space, and here on the ATP Combat Media, anybody can get it. You better do right. If you don't do right, we're going to talk about you, and we're going to talk about you the way you need to be talked about. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who you are, bro. Terrence Crawford, big fan of you. You need to drop them damn belts. Canelo Alvarez, yo, salute to your career. You've done great things. You're looking crazy out here. Holding them belts and not fighting David Benavidez. PBC, you need to figure it out and get these fights put together. You holding 250 plus fighters hostage. It's crazy. We're not trying to hear none of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who you are. Tank Davis, hey, man, see you when you get here. Make sure you fight those slick fighters that we want to see you fight. I don't want to see no more flat-foot Mexicans in the rings with you. You already know what it is. We not having it. You know what I'm saying? Shakur Stevens, hey, you need to do what you need to do. You had a shitty fight. You got a 5-fight deal. Fight everybody, but fight. I'm not having it. You know what I'm saying? All you dudes, man. Outside of that, man, we wish you guys the best. Wish you health.
We want to see
you guys have great fights.
We gotta go out like the way King Ryan came in today in his press conference.
How we gonna do it? How we gonna do it? I don't know. I don't know how he went. I didn't see it. I don't know. I don't know.
Man. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
If anybody seen the press conference, they definitely laughing right now.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. But I appreciate you guys, man. Hold on,
Yeah,
Frequency want to come up here and say something nice. Go ahead, Freak. Say something nice.
Hanos Clan back in the building. What we doing, y'all? Let's start the show.
There it is. I told you. What I tell you? You know, and just like Ryan came in, right?
That's how we gonna do it. That's how we gonna do it, man. Yo, to the next one, guys. Yo, tomorrow night I'll be back on. I don't know. I'm thinking about doing a fight party for the Pro Box card that's coming on. Either way, we're gonna talk about boxing. You know what I mean? We'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Appreciate
the best
all you guys.
channel with the best panel. Salute.
Salute,
Let's
baby.
get it. We out.
Judge, man. I'm not fucking with you, man.
Listen, man. Salute.
They hate when you elevate. Yeah. They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out. Yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment.